In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Gentle and loving God, we thank you for the opportunity to join together today as we strive to build a domestic church in concert with our brother knights. We pray that you will open our minds to new concepts and ideas that are presented here today. Give us the wisdom to discern the path before us, the energy to pursue the attainment of our council's goals and of those of the order. As your loyal servants we pray, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Be seated.
Pledge.
Stand up again. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is great attendance. I want to thank each of you for giving up your Saturday morning to come and share ideas with each other in our 4 districts. I don't know if this is often done, but this was a great opportunity, and the other 3 district deputies worked with me to put together the attendance that we have here today, and we're looking forward to some good ideas and some good presentations. Secondly, I want to thank Council 2112 and the Columbia Club for their gracious gift, really, of this fall and the opportunity to meet here like this today. So I'd like to have a round of applause for Council 2112. This council is an invaluable asset to me as a district deputy, and on short notice they have always been very accommodating for district competitions, for district meetings, degrees when we had pretty short time to put together a 3rd degree, and that type of thing. So that type of support is invaluable to all of us because it benefits the district, and if it benefits the district, ultimately it benefits the order. At this time, I'd like to welcome our special guests who are here giving their time to help us achieve our goals. And first and foremost, our worthy State Deputy, Donald Gooseby. Our Region 4 Retention Chairman, Region 3 Retention Chairman, James, where are you? James Schoenfeld. Our Region 3 Membership Director, Robert Rosh. Did Robert Guito get here yet? Yes. Okay, General Agent Robert Guito. And we will have coming in a little bit later, Sean Williams, our local agent. A teacher stood up in front of her class and asked, if anyone here thinks they're stupid, please stand up. Bob, no, sit down. This is just a story. She looked around and no one was standing, and she waited a while, and finally little Johnny stood up and she said to him, "You think you're stupid?" And he said, "No, but I didn't want to see you standing there alone." Today, if you stand up and ask a question, nobody will think you're stupid, because they're probably wondering the same thing, but were afraid to ask, particularly if they heard this joke before. If you have a question, we'll attempt to answer it. If we don't know the answer, we'll get one for you, or just resist the temptation to make something up. Those of you who attended our August meeting will hear some familiar themes today. Scientists say that you have to hear something 3 times before it actually sticks. So, count on hearing this some more. Shortly, we'll test this whole theory. So please pay attention. For some of us, like Bob Ross and I, it's more like 8 to 10 times, but some of you probably believe you know everything there is to know about the nights. And I'll confess to you that it's really upsetting to those of us who do. We're going to cover a lot of ground this morning. It's our hope that you will leave here today armed with some new ideas and inspired to work diligently to achieve your goals. You know, inspiration can come from some pretty unusual places at times. Bear with me just a second here. Russell Larson, a cowboy, had engraved on his headstone 5 rules for men to follow for a happy life. The first, it's important to have a woman who helps at home, cooks from time to time, cleans up, and has a job. Second, it's important to have a woman who can make you laugh. Next, it's important to have a woman that you can trust and won't lie to you. Next, it's important to have a woman who is good in bed and likes to be with you. Those are important rules for all of us to live by. But interestingly enough, I thought someone might have counted the number of rules. Because in the last meeting, I did the same joke. And someone did not answer. So that will be saved for the next question. The 5th rule, and most important of all, it's very, very important that these 4 women do not meet each other, or you could end up dead like me.
Worthy District Deputy,
Yes.
the State Secretary just came in, Don Kerr, and Sean Williams, our insurance agent, just came in.
Okay. I did introduce Sean before, but Sean, will you stand up? Where is he? There he is. Okay. And it's a great honor to have Donald Carroll with us. He's a great friend of the State Secretary.
It's official, the Ocoee Airport was fogged in this morning.
I lived there. I didn't even know they had one.
Classified secrets, Worthy.
Many of you, we're going to talk about a familiar topic, which is recruiting. Recruiting is the lifeblood of what we do. If we cannot continually renew ourselves, we will dry up and blow away, basically. So for all of you who have been looking at people that you know and saying, boy, someday I'm going to get to that, talk to that guy and invite him to be in the Knights of Columbus when I get around to it. So here is a round to it, which you can have. I will present it to you. Actually, you're going to have to order it because I ran out of them at the last meeting. With that, let me introduce District Deputy 26, George Del Campo, to talk about state and fraternal goals.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is George Del Campo. To those of you that know me, I'm sorry. And to those of you that do not know me, I'm the District Deputy number 26. So if I can get the slide up here changed. Hold on, we're getting there. Supreme goals. You've heard this over and over. The power of one. They want one member per council per month, one-star council per district a year, and one new council per diocese a year. And I think most of our councils are doing a pretty good job of getting the first degree per district per month. If you gentlemen do not go to the state website and see where your degrees are taking place, you're missing out on a valuable, valuable tool. Definitely recommend that. This year, state council has a goal of 5 new goals, new councils, 9 reactivations, 150 roundtables, and 120 star councils. Let me ask everybody here, what's your goal for your council when you start your fraternal year? Should be star council right there. Every single council should, their goal on July the 1st should be to make star council. Gentlemen, get your forms submitted on time, please. Your SP7s, how many times have we all gotten chased down for an SP7? Raise your hands. We've all gotten chased down at some point or another. So get that SP7 going. Keep a blank copy of that with you so that you can keep track of what your events are throughout the year. That way you're not scrambling and making things up when it comes to April, May, and June. Go ahead, next one. There it is. Submit your SP7, your Form 365s, your 185s, your 1720s, so on and so forth. Not only to your district deputies, but to our state deputy and to our Supreme Council. Scan and send your Form 100s to Supreme on the day of the degree. Heard a story here not too long ago about a gentleman that took his first degree on one day. His form was not submitted in time, and there was a tragedy involved. So he was not eligible to receive his benefits. Am I correct on that, Don? Yeah. And I do not want to be the grand knight to tell that widow why he cannot get any benefits, although he was a knight. His paperwork did not get forward. The most important is a Columbian Award. This is for all of your different programs, all of your different activities that you do. Gentlemen, this is what the Knights of Columbus is all about. It's working with our parish, working with our pastors, working with our communities. So who's the membership committee? Anybody tell me? Your councils? Who's the membership committee?
Everybody.
Everybody is in charge. You guys are laughing over here. Everybody is part of the membership committee. Why is membership growth important? Let me go over that. In last year, fraternal year of 2014 and 15, Forest State Council, we were at 52,215 members. We had 3,000, almost 3,200 knights come in. That's a great number. But we had 1,152 suspensions, and on top of that, we had over 1,000 deaths. So the total net gain for the whole state was 952. The state of Florida is an extremely important district for our Supreme Council. It is the second and the third most important one. So gentlemen, definitely, we're constantly got to continue to grow the order. Like our district deputy over here said earlier, just do it. If you guys have someone in mind, by all means, ask them. Always, always ask them. Find a mentor who believes in you. I think everybody in this room has someone that they work with closely to make sure that they achieve their goals. You know, this one here, be nice to everyone and live your faith. You never ever know who you are speaking to. You never ever know. So just be kind, just be nice, just be courteous to everyone you come across, because you know what? You are representing the Knights of Columbus. So the impression that you leave is the impression that they will have of all Knights of Columbus. Be on time. Believe that your time is more valuable than others. When it comes to council meetings, start them on time. If your council meeting is supposed to start at 7 o'clock, hit that gavel at 7 o'clock and get going. Don't wait 7:05, 7:10, 7:15, just get the meeting going. Once you do that several times, you'll be amazed on how everybody will start showing up on time. You know, I raise my children this way. Thank you, please, I'm sorry, to everyone. Never point fingers unless you're giving directions. You always have one going out and three coming back at you. We've all heard that one before. No dumb questions. I'm sure we've heard the same question over and over and over again. By all means, just answer the question. And, you know, keep it simple in word and in deed. Love what you do and do what you love. Who here does not love or enjoy being a Knight of Columbus? I don't see any hands going up. Bob Rash, put your hand up.
I didn't even know I had to go to another meeting.
Couple of suggestions on conducting your business meetings. Conduct them within an hour. Your most successful business meetings they're gonna keep them to an hour. Afterwards, there's gonna be some social time. If you don't allow for some social time after the meetings, you're gonna see your attendance at your meetings just go down, down, down. Officers' meetings. The bifold document that you get from Supreme on how to conduct a meeting, on the back of that is how to conduct an officers' meeting. I think the best example of that is Grand Knight George Anand. He conducts a great officers' meeting. And your procedures to do that is on the back of that. And that's when you take care of all those items that really need to be discussed, that decisions need to be made. You take care of that at the officers' meetings, and you leave the other recommendations for the general business meeting. Don't be afraid to delegate. You know, you Grand Knights, you don't do it all. You don't do it all. Delegate, delegate, delegate. The Grand Knight should be there just to report to the council what's going on. Know and extend the positive attributes of your officers. If you have officers within your council that has definitely skills and talents, gentlemen, by all means, use them. Use them to the advantage of the council, because at some point it's going to be an advantage to the parish. How many here have a good relationship with your pastors? Yeah, it's really important. And we must be servants to that pastor. There are situations where that's not the case. Gentlemen, we're here to ask the pastor what he needs. We don't tell him what we're going to do for him. We need to answer his needs. Someone once told me that the two most important things that a pastor wants is liturgy and funding. Isn't that correct? Liturgy and funding.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. We could probably handle the funding aspect for him. We could definitely help him there. Keep your meetings interesting. You know, and still a little humor, a little fellowship, a little social time. It's the key to a successful meeting. It really, really is. How many of you use some sort of an attendance booster to come to their meeting, an attendance drawing of some sort? Yeah. We had one fellow one time who hadn't been to a meeting, came to the meeting, got the attendance award, and never came to another meeting. And gentlemen, communicate your vision to your officers. I know a couple of councils in the area, what they do is they'll have a meeting. I know George Olson does this. He'll have a fact gathering meeting. Is that what you call it, George? Planning meeting at the beginning of the year. And basically it's just, let's get together and let's see what we want to do. At the same time, he covers the budget during that meeting there too. That way, it's not the Grand Knight's vision, it is the council's vision. And I'm sure he'll show you a little bit later on how he achieved that and the great things that his council is doing. So, any questions, gentlemen? Yes, sir.
Highlighted worthy district deputy, the sign-up sheet, did everybody sign it?
Everybody sign in? All right, gentlemen.
Emails, you need emails.
Emails. All right. Let me talk a little bit about membership. Yes, David.
George, I was just gonna say, when you're delegating to different committees and chairmen, and no one wants to take the lead, no one wants to step up, and the 9 or 10 months of meetings where you say we have these events coming up and I need a chairman for this, or I need a membership director here, and still no one steps up, and when you put on your council letterhead that the same 4 or 5 officers are doing everything because no one wants to take that lead, knowing that they're not obligated to anything more than to take the lead and then to get a couple guys to give them a hand on that committee. What do you do?
Sounds like you got the wrong team members in place. Who's had that?
George, let me address that if I could. In my period of time as Grand Knight, I didn't have people step up when you announced I had an opening in a position in a meeting. What I did is I targeted certain people who I determined had the skills that would allow them to be successful in that role. And then I went to them individually and said, I need your help. Nobody wants to do this job, but you're eminently qualified to perform the task. Will you please help me on this team?
I've done that, and I have more no than I have positive.
Well, you're gonna get more no's than positives, yeah. I mean, how long have you been married?
25
I rest my case.
Yes, sir.
One of the points was to keep the meetings interesting. This is Luis Rosas, new council, brand new council, 16236. How do you? What's an example of keeping them interesting? Can you expand a little bit on that?
Gentlemen, who wants to answer that for me? Because I know I've been to a couple of meetings that have been really, really good. George, why don't you take George and on?
Okay. For our meetings, we make sure, you mentioned our officers meeting, I usually go through and make sure we have everything listed out for the upcoming months and go around the room. And each person has an opportunity to speak, within the officers and directors and the council. At the meeting, they're also assigned to speak to that during the meeting and to bring those up. So it's first to keep an active agenda. You know, if you're an active agenda, you have a lot going on in your council, there's plenty of interesting things to talk about, as opposed to just getting together and not really understanding why you're there. So it's about the content and what we have going on. We're blessed with a very active council, always have been. And so basically the agenda is driven by the activities that we have in the council. And there's plenty that this gentleman right here mentioned a minute ago. He can't find the guys to do all the activities he wants to take care of. Just to add to what you were asking about, another approach might be that you have the 4 or 5 that are always doing everything. It's probably an easier transition to get new guys to come in if you have that individual, one of those 4 or 5, be a co-chairman that year, and to get them in so that person that's new doesn't feel totally like, I don't know anything about this, I'm afraid to jump in. You don't have to jump in now. You can kind of just feed them in quietly, and that person that's been doing it can step aside the next year and let that person take over. Might be another opportunity as well. Thank you.
So you see, it's a two-way meeting. There's lots of dialogue going on, back and forth. George Olson, did you want to comment on that also?
Yeah, I'm going to rehash something that Brother George here said, but agenda is important, especially for the officer meeting. They need to know what they're going to be saying going into that meeting. Preferably get the officer agenda out before the meeting so they know exactly what's going to come up during that meeting. So that's critical. And also, again, I think critical is starting on time, ending on time, and making sure that some of the folks, aside from the Grand Night, are doing speaking. Obviously, you can do your Grand Night report, but make sure some of those committee leads get up and speak. I think that's very important to make sure that you're showing that everybody's involved as opposed to just 1 or 2 people. Get them involved. Make them speak about what they're doing as a special project. Very important.
Yes, sir. George.
Yes, John.
I was at Grand Night many years ago, but I'm currently taking the Navigators Assembly and meets here. And 2 years ago, one of my chairmen, most of you know him, Phil Boyle, passed away. He was our chalice chairman for the 4th degree, and George stepped in. You always keep somebody in mind who might assume that. And don't be afraid if the guy's been a member for 20 years or a year. Sometimes that's how you get these guys in, new, to get involved. And same way with our essay contest, Jim Booth stepped back and Ron Jarabak took over, and it was like there was no missing steps. So don't be afraid if a guy comes forward, and don't be afraid that so-and-so's had that chair for 20 years. He may be ready to step aside and let somebody else do it. So you got to get in new blood, because sometimes, old guys like me, we get tired. We want to do less. So, but you still have to bring in the new blood, and that keeps them active in the council and or your assembly.
Thank you, John.
Worthy?
Sir.
One of the things that is part of our culture is that you have a person called a lecturer. In some councils, the lecturer is the guy that gets the pizzas, but that's not just what his job is. If you read the description of what the lecturer is, it's his job to enhance and make the meetings more meaningful. He could do a whole year's presentation on just the significance of each of these jewels and what all this stuff is that's on here, or the significance of the emblem of the order. What is all that stuff on there? So things like that help. The other thing to make meetings interesting, and unfortunately some people don't have the facilities to do it, is to have the socialization after the meeting. You want to silence the room, ask for volunteers. You want to get volunteers, meet them over a piece of pizza or a spaghetti sandwich or something, and ask them personally, just like what was said there. But a lot of times you don't have that avenue. If the meeting is over and there's nothing after the meeting, people head for the parking lot. It's just like after Mass. It's a race to get out of there. So those are a couple suggestions that you might try.
And sometimes the meeting after the meeting is always a little more beneficial than during the meeting. I saw a hand back here.
Hey, good morning. One of the things I was going to kind of take on after Bob is that, when you have a council that needs to get men involved, it's a grand night that really goes out there. But I think the next level is getting those people to find their own replacement. And that's what makes it, I think this is the most important letter in the council, is that it's not the grand night, it's the Knights of Columbus. So making sure that it's not always their responsibility. If you have someone that's good in a chair or good in a position, have them find their own replacement. What do you want to do next? Move them to some other sheet and say, find a replacement, find a good replacement for the council that we can depend on, and find out what that is, and make sure that it's the Knights that are making sure that the council and all the officers are extending that relationship to new people. Sometimes, you can't have all new people in the chair, and sometimes you've got to have, some of the old guys in a chair, some of the new guys in a chair to mentor them. But if you can find someone to find their own replacement, it works out fantastic.
That's a great point. Norman?
It's important that everyone knows what the mission of the Knights is. There was a famous football coach, I think it was Lombardi, that used to start the year by saying, this is a football. And we need to make sure that everyone in the Knights know what we're about. We're a fraternal organization, we're a family organization. And unfortunately, a new member that comes in really doesn't get understand what we're about. So it's important that I think we, at least once a year, the Grand Night, maybe the first meeting, tell everyone what the mission of the Knights is all about.
That's a really good point. Sometimes we get caught in the, the business month-to-month transgression of things, and we kind of forget to take a step back, take a breather, and do what we have to do. Mark?
Yes. With regard to getting people to be more involved with it, I think it's important, especially with the new members, because you say new members is the lifeblood of the Knights of Columbus. If you want to have people interested in doing things, you have to show interest in them when they first come in to the Knights of Columbus. You cannot just recruit somebody and say, okay, you're in the Knights of Columbus, you're on your own now, I'm out of here. No, you have to stay interested in them, show them that you're interested in them, not just as a warm body on a list, but you're interested in them because you are interested in the Knights of Columbus, you are working in the Knights of Columbus, and you have to stay with them and show them that this is what being a Knight of Columbus is all about. It's like with the faith. It's one thing to talk about, I am a Catholic. It's another thing if you, in other words, the thing is, you not only talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And with the new members, you have to show your interest in them as individuals, as brother knights, and from that interest in them, they will learn what the Knights of Columbus are all about, and therefore they will become involved, rather than just seeing it as something that, well, I'm a member now, and what do I do now? You cannot. It's the same. But the thing is, especially with the new members, I think it's important because that's where the lifeblood of the Knights of Columbus will come from. The new members who are coming in, but also by seeing that the new members who come in, I think it may motivate, or as a motivation for those who have been members who haven't been involved that much. To see new members coming in, becoming more involved with it, and you build that fraternity in your councils. And without showing the interest in the individual and showing them what it's all about, they'll lose interest. They'll just think that, well, I'm just here because I'm a warm body and somebody brought me in. Oh, you can't do that. You have to show interest in them, show them what you're doing and what the councils are all about.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else before we move on? Anthony?
Tony Costantine, PD 28. One of the things, probably the most important thing that I feel is that the proposer is probably the most important person in this chain. Because once he brings that knight in, he should actually go with him to a second, third, and fourth degrees, make sure it becomes a full Knight of Columbus. I've had a couple, I don't got big numbers where it comes to recruiting, but the gentlemen I have recruited have all gone up to the fourth degree, and one was a warden, district warden, and a grand knight. So it's important for the proposer to say, hey, listen, we have a meeting on this night at this time, I'll pick you up, let's go. Or we have this project that we're working on, I'll pick you up, let's go work on it together. So that proposer really is the first person that new recruit meets. He's been recruited by him. So he needs to take the lead on that, and then as they get more comfortable with the council, then the other members should take over.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving along here. See if you can have an open house social of some sort over at your church. Work with your pastors on seeing if you can have some sort of a membership drive. For the first time, and I can't remember how long, we at St. James were able to have a membership drive. And we got 8, 10? We got 8 new guys come in. So that does work. A message from the pulpit does help, believe me. Is everybody here using membership drives at all? Because if you're not, that's a fabulous, fabulous tool to get new guys involved. I think Tony talked about that there, about pairing up potential candidates with brothers who have a shared interest. And once they become knights, go ahead and have them help them move up through the different degrees. A couple of ideas here. Send a gift to a newly married couple. This came out of our last meeting that this district deputies had. RCIA graduates. How many here went through RCIA? And there's now a knight. Our state deputy was once Southern Baptist, a long time ago. Yeah, went through RCIA, became a knight, and look where he is now. I'm sorry. And I know that a lot of other knights have got recruited at RCIA. Some of them have become grand knights. I know a former district deputy that went through that. So, if you can make a presentation at some sort of a parish ministry fair, do so. If you have a council of Catholic women, my wife asked me for years to become a knight. So that's also a helpful tool. And you fellows that are have schools, young adult ministries, use that. That's also a great tool. One thing, multicultural. We're starting to have first degrees in Spanish. We've had a couple already. We're going to have another one sometime this first quarter. And you contact me on that if you like.
Those of you that have high school, does anybody have high school attached to their churches at all? No? That's another great recruitment tool. And all of your church ministries, invite them to your monthly socials. I mean, have them on your email list and have them come every single event that you have as a recruitment event. And the district deputy is rushing me through here. You all know about the guide to membership recruitment. So this one here I want to touch on, recruitment misstatements. Oh yeah, you can become an advocate. You don't have to show up for anything. How many times have we heard that? Too many times. That's smart? No. Because eventually it's going to become suspension, and that's not good for growth. Oh, business meetings are not important. Only the service activities are. How's everybody feel as far as temperature? Good? It's getting cold. Gentlemen, the business meetings are where things happen, where you find out things. So it's very important that they do attend your business meetings. Sir? Yes? Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, when you have a chance to talk from the pulpit, keep it short and to the point, but always include one more short thing in there. And I use the thing that we all came up through the Baltimore Catechism, and we all know about purgatory, and we all know we need prayer. When all your friends and everybody else are gone, and you're still needing those last prayers, if you die as a member of the Knights of Columbus, you're perpetually remembered in daily Mass at our founding place, St. Mary's Church. I brought in about 15 people down to Holy Redeemer that way, bringing them back. Because the first thing they tell you outside is, I'm retired from the Knights of Columbus. Gentlemen, you don't retire from the Knights of Columbus. They came down from up north, eventually somebody dropped them, and they have no affiliation. Bring them back in, you bring them back. Our brothers here keep track of the insurance members for you. But gentlemen, there are 54,000 members in the state of Florida. There are 59,000 former members in the state of Florida. So go get some of them, but don't belabor your pastor. Keep those things short and to the point. But add that point, pick up some of those members.
All right, some of the things for a successful plan for the federal planning. Keep track of your programs from year to year to year. See where you are. What is working, what's not working for your particular area here. Dee Dee's rushing me here. Membership and programs at a glance. See what works for you there. Plan early for success. Once again, when you start your fraternal year, have one of those business planning meetings. Check your reminders. I use a little planner in my pocket that the state sends out, and it has everything that's happening that year. And every Grand Knight here should have their planner also, and it's all color-coded for everything that needs to be done. And look ahead to see next month's plans for what you're doing. Measure your success. Where are you? You know, are you already at Star Council pace? Are you off a couple? You don't know. Don't wait for, May and April. It's not going to happen. Establish a council budget. Very important. You have an idea of what you're doing as a council, where the funds are going, where they're not going, what's working, and what's not working. And there it is right there. If you don't know where you're going, you will probably end up somewhere else. If you don't know, if you get there, you shouldn't make the trip. Use your last 2 years' financial records to establish a baseline. And just remember, a budget is just a goal. So you have to stick to it. It's a target for you to try to achieve. So submit your forms, even if you missed them. Grand Knights should assign new members to a committee. And in the new Knights, all right, couldn't see past the light there. Areas of interest immediately. Let me touch on that for just a second. Several years ago, I asked a young man to become a Knight, and I knew he had a little bit of a technical background. So I asked Jason Gingras to become a Knight several years ago. And when he became a Knight, I said, Jason, I knew that technology is where we need to go. Can you set up a website for us? That's all I asked him to do, and he did. The next thing I know, we're on Facebook. And then all of a sudden, we're on Twitter. All of a sudden, there's a master email list that's accessible via the internet. So my point is, you find someone with talents and skills and you capitalize it. And I'm going to bridge into technology also. Everybody here have a smartphone? Yeah? Gentlemen, that is the wave of the future. If you guys, setting up a Facebook page is free. And it's really simple. How many of you here have set up your own personal page? Come on. Come on. Pretty simple to keep it going. Anybody active on Twitter? Who's active on Twitter? You should be, because every single bishop in the United States is on Twitter. Like St. Francis said, to go forth and preach the gospel, and sometimes use words. These bishops and the Pope and the archbishops, they're all using technology to spread the gospel. I would encourage you gentlemen to do so. Also, Grand Nights, make sure that the admission committee is doing its job. Every council should have a budget, and the trustees should ensure that that council acts within it. You councils that don't have budgets, because I know there's some out there, we really need to start looking at that. That's another tool that's going to help you to succeed. It really will. And I know I was walking around earlier, we were talking about who's on target for shiny armor, and also second and third degrees too. Sir?
We're a brand new
Sorry.
I'm Eric Connor, I'm 1636, we're brand new council.
Where you at?
We're over here in Edgewater Drive, downtown.
Oh, Incarnation. Oh, okay, welcome.
Thank you very much. We're brand new council. I was previously with Sacramento Claremont, and we're down, over here in Orlando. How do we get, as a new council, I'm not experienced, how do we get a budget together on a new council with no experience, past year's experience?
Anybody want to answer that? In the back?
I'd suggest that you talk to some of the Grand Knights at the other councils and get their template. Most of the budgets that they have are Excel spreadsheets. Yeah. And why their number may be higher than yours, your number might be zero. It's really just about getting the template. And then as you grow that experience, don't reinvent the wheel. A lot of folks are there, Mark Schneider's here from 2112, but it's a process of inputs and outputs. So just, the best thing about the Knights is we got a lot of guys we can copy from. We got a lot of smart guys. No reason to reinvent it yourself, but a simple Excel spreadsheet would probably be the first place.
Yeah, I know 2112 uses a budget. I know that 5958, 12402, St. Francis, all these guys have a budget. It's just a map. It's just a map. All right, Bob?
George, I have one further recommendation. Recruit an accountant.
John?
For your council, I'm from St. Francis.
Yes.
I talk to you guys all the time. Our budget is a living document that changes anytime a check is written and everything else. But what's
You
nice,
keep yours online, don't you?
But what's nice is I can share that with you with an email address, and you can see how it's done.
Okay.
And I also have my financial planning recorded, meaning what I did is I looked at what our council does. I want to do fish centers, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. That's your budget. And in order to make my mind, because sometimes I'm a little too anal for my own good, well, everything's got council activity, youth activity, pro-life activity, and that way I know I've got my SP7 work done. I can just go back and look, and I'll send it over to you, and that way you can kind of look at it and play with it. Because like I said, I've done it with Dick, I've done it with Bob. It's how I keep everything going. So I can look right now and know exactly how much money I got left in my pancake budget. I know exactly how much money I got left in toys and stuff like that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So what just happened right now is a great example of charity. It's also a great example of why we are here today. I didn't answer that question. You guys did by sharing the information with another brother Knight. As someone said earlier, it's Knight, it's plural, that's most important. So. Provide good programs for the youth. My very first memory of the Knights of Columbus is as a 10-year-old boy, and I'm up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I'm playing in a marching band. And it's the Knights of Columbus Hall that we use in the freezing temperatures of February and March to practice. We use that hall, it's up on the second floor, I can't even tell you where it is now. But it's up on the second floor, they never ever charged us. And every time we came across a night, those guys were always very, very charitable. So you never know how you're going to affect the youth because they are your future members. I'm living proof of that. 6-year-old driver, name your council. What happened?
That's it.
We're done, okay.
I think that was you finishing up.
Question? Yeah, I think so. I did have a little thing I wanted to do over here, but I think in time we were going to go ahead and forego that. So, a local Spanish first. Oh, okay. That does concern me. We've had a couple of first degrees, and we've had a couple of gentlemen come through. We're definitely going to pick that up again in this first quarter. I'd like to do one over by the cathedral. So we'll definitely do that. If you've not attended a first degree in Spanish, you're more than welcome to do so. It's a little longer than the English one because of the vocabulary, but you can follow along. John follows along. He comes with me. He's my sidekick. He follows along without a problem. He's sometimes off the page, but he follows along.
When you change it.
Yeah. Are there? Do I have any of my Spanish first degree guys here? No. Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. So, with regard to nomenclature, okay, I've had a couple of guys say, yeah, that's not the kind of Spanish that we speak. Correct. We cannot change the verbiage of any degree without permission from the Supreme Council. And that answer is going to be no. Any questions, any comments, gentlemen? Yeah, Anthony.
I have a council 13116, it is a Spanish council, and they do both first and second degree.
There you
so
go.
It's really great.
There you go. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Anything else, gentlemen? I'll turn over the microphone back to Dick Grant. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good presentation. The next presentation will be on retention programs and DD 28, Tony Constantini. Am I pronouncing that right, Tony? Is it Constantini? Constantini. Okay.
He's a revolving grand night.
Thank you.
Got a video on this. I'll let you use it.
Hey, Tony,
Yes, sir.
like we were just talking about recruitment there. A trivia question for everybody here. Who recruited the 50,000th member of the Florida State Council?
5150.
Alvin Jones. Smith, I mean.
Thank you for your service to the country as well.
And that was a Catholic priest.
Before I get started, I do want to mention that I do have a council, 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, Holy Cross, where are those brothers at? One here, Ben. These brothers have already met their quota for membership. Now, all you insurance agents, you have a new insurance agent assigned to that council. Effective this month is my understanding. They need 3 insurance members. I don't see that agent here, but I want some work done on this council and make sure that they have those 3 insurance members done this year. Thank you. Okay. Where's my-
Almost there. And which folder you got it in?
It's going to be Richard Summer.
Down bottom.
It's the one with the
from, where did it go?
Regional Seminar 2015?
Yeah, see, check in there.
PowerPoint?
Till you are the
What
light.
I'm looking for is a video from the Supreme Night. There, no, that's not it.
From
Okay, it's disappeared somehow. Okay, well, I guess we'll have them speak today. There it is, do that now. Okay? I couldn't find a guest speaker, so I brought him along. It's about a 5-minute video. It'll touch, I believe, on both retention and recruiting.
Put the microphone over next to the computer.
We want to have members, we want to have programs, we want to have families, we want to have, we're going to win.
Let's go, sir. Might be a little loud ahead of time, sorry.
We're going to win by being the people that other people want to be around. That can't be so difficult for a membership organization to understand. We want to have councils, we want to have members, we want to have programs, we want to have families, we want to have marriages that people say, yeah, that's the way I'd like to be. Those are the people I like to associate with. This isn't an organization of angry old men yelling on street corners, waving placards, condemning people left and right. There are enough of those kind of people. Society is tired of that. Society wants guys who have an answer, guys who are committed, men who have a plan to make things better, and go out and do it. And go out and do it. And that's what our councils are doing every day. That's what our councils are doing every day. So what we have to do is invite men to come in and join us. Sure, join us on the social activities. Join us for the pancake breakfasts, the spaghetti dinners. That's important. We're going to raise money for the school, or we're going to raise money for the parish roof, or whatever the project is. That's great. That's very important. But let's also urge the men of our parishes to come join us when we have a charitable project. Let's be the center. Let's be the active center of every parish's charitable activity. Let's make it the Knights of Columbus, and let's invite the men of our parishes to come join us. How many times have we heard, well, I'd like to join the Knights, but I really don't have, the commitment and time that I can put in. Give us a couple hours every couple of months to help a poor child. Can you do that? And if they say, no, I don't have time for that, then maybe they should make time for that. But I bet you if we get some of these guys involved in some of our tremendous projects, we'll get lots of members. We'll get lots of members. Because once you've got that person, what the Pope talks about in Deus Caritas, as that personally giving of yourself, and to see what happens in terms of the gratitude and how you change a life through one of these great charitable programs. You see, personally, existentially, it's better to give than to receive. Right? Because you receive something greater than the material gift that you give. You receive something personally back from that person at a spiritual level, at a much more profoundly personal level. That's what the Knights are about. That's the kind of witness we make. That's the kind of witness we have to share. And that's the kind of witness we have to invite many more men in to join us. So we got to build up the order membership. Build up the order membership. One of the great things that I see when I go to a state convention is the Brother Knight who has been a 50-year member. And usually there's a Brother Knight like that who's being honored at the convention. and you know a lot of them. Look at what that Brother Knight has done for 50 years. The tremendous difference he's made, not only in the Knights of Columbus, but in the church, in the communities. Think of what the proposer did when he signed up that Brother Knight, and then donated 50 years of contributions. That proposer did a tremendous thing. Like Father McGivney, he probably didn't visualize the thousands of volunteer hours, the thousands of dollars, the tremendous growth in the Knights of Columbus that this one Brother Knight would bring. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about membership. It's not just quotas, also the Circle of Honor, but not just that. It's bringing guys in that are going to make that kind of a tremendous contribution long after we're making a contribution to the Knights of Columbus. So that's what we really have to think about in terms of membership. It's not just the numbers. It's not just the numbers. It's the multiplying effect.
Okay, what does that got to do with retention? Well, the retention should start right after that first degree. Once that you bring that night in, you want to be one of those 50-year members, like the Supreme Knight talked about. Okay.
No, you gotta go forward. Forward, down, yeah.
It is a forward.
Yeah, they were a little bit out of order. You can go to the windows, you might be able to do it. But I think you give me all the information. Yeah. Who's gonna need it, I'll fix Oh, come on.
Okay, I'm done.
Thanks, Tony.
All right. Okay, when the new knight first comes in, again, welcome him into your council. Then when you have to go through these retention. Okay. As I was saying, once you get them in, and there comes a time where you're going to lose them, and you'll have to come back and decide whether to retain this knight or suspend him. Best thing to do is retain him if at all possible. Has he been active in the past? Why is he no longer active? So you want to make contact, begins with an interview, and continues as long as he's a knight. In this effort, the brothers try to communicate and discover and find out why this gentleman no longer wants to be a member, no longer comes to meetings. You should have the chancellor, along with the proposer, warden, the program director, usually the deputy grand knight, need to be aware of each of the new knight's interests, his participation in service programs, meetings, and his degree attainment. Again, some of these gentlemen have to be pushed along just a little bit, a little nudge. And it's best when you make this personal contact because they feel that you do have an interest in them. When this is done, you'll help him fulfill his desire to serve the church and community, which in most cases is the reason he joined the Knights. Suspension of non-payment is the action the council takes when it fails at retention. It is the unfortunate result of the failure to connect with its new knight. Okay, the suspension should not be considered for members who are a year in arrears, those in honorary life or honorary status, suffering financial hardship, those in nursing homes, and those on active duty in the military. But again, the only way you know that these events are happening in his life is to have contact with him. How many times have we let a brother go by And you'll find out after he's out of the hospital, he's been in the hospital, he's had surgery. We just had one, Brother Knight in our council. I got an email from a Knight from another council that he's in the hospital. We had no contact from him or to him at that point that he was in the hospital. Okay, again, that's knowing the reason. We just covered that. They have personal financial problems, offer to carry them for a year if necessary. You can forgive the past due balances if he pays the current year. And that's worked in some cases. It's worked here at this council, and it's worked at 6624 as well. I want to welcome back the brother, so you can get him involved in the program. Okay, this is for the those that are handicapped or need cannot pay because of their illness. You get the letter from the doctor, it's a form that gets to be filled out. It's turned into the financial secretary, and they submit it to Supreme and State, and then he's forgiven for his dues. But that's got to be done every year, and you have to remind me of that. Okay, withdrawals and suspensions, non-payment charged against membership and insurance bills. When you have these suspensions for misconduct in Catholicity, not charged against the council. So we haven't had to deal with any of those recently. Readmissions and applications are counted as new members, and especially if they're an associate insurance member or inactive insurance member. Suspended insurance members are listed as inactive and can be reactivated, restoring some of the benefits lost when they were suspended. Not only does it get you a new member, but also gets you a new insurance member. So you get 2 strikes with that. Well, not 2 strikes, but two points. Transfers and deaths don't count. Okay, the brother moves out of the area, urge him to transfer. We have snowbirds come in here. Some of them actually come in and work at the hall, as council, when they're down here for the 6 months of the winter months. And some of them actually end up transferring down here and moving down here. Make sure their addresses are current and the phone is. Personal visit may be effective. We have had incidents where brothers do not keep up their addresses and phone numbers, and you have to go looking for them on the white pages, Google, and everywhere else. But sometimes you can find them, sometimes you can't. You want to utilize the resources of the Florida State Council, including the diocesan coordinator, and your insurance agents are also a big help in this. You can locate a brother and publish a letter, his name, and ask him in the council to know where his member is. We've done that before, and sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't, but at least you tried. The Search with Service contains information about building a strong service program. Strong programs retain members and keep the council relevant. Your brothers want to make a positive difference and need your help in achieving that goal. Again, the first 3 degrees, charity, unity, fraternity, it all counts in getting these gentlemen back. And we already covered the fraternal benefits advisor in helping. We want to work hard to get new members for their energy, ideas, and enthusiasm. It's working harder to keep them. And brother, sometimes that's the hardest thing to do is to keep a member. So you do have to keep them interested. Not only do you have to keep your meetings interesting, you have to keep the nice interest in the programs that you're doing.
Any questions?
Any more? Yes.
Yes, I'm the financial secretary at 236, and one of the things that I saw in there is you were saying about if someone was handicapped to get the doctor needs to sign.
Right, there's a form. I don't happen to know the number, and I don't know if anyone here knows any of the numbers.
That's what I was looking for.
But if you go on the website and look under forms, you'll probably find it right there. I'm pretty sure you'll find it there. Yes, Dave?
Tony, I just want to let you know, after you left the meeting on Wednesday, about halfway through the meeting, we had a little break, and we had a brother that had returned back to the council after 2 years. He paid his dues, he became current. We welcomed him back. He explained that he felt rather guilty and ashamed that he hadn't paid his dues. He wanted no contact. He, again, felt ashamed. A couple of our brothers reached out to him, and I found out that he was one of our charter members that started the council 4 years ago. So he was a young guy, and it was the wherewithal for some of my officers to reach out to him and to find out what was going on and to welcome him back. So I want to let you know that retention does help, reaching out to brothers does help, and it helped in our instance on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most important things we do is when a brother is missing in action, so to speak, just to reach out to him in some way, shape, or form, a visit, a phone call, even an email, just something to open up this dialogue. Generally, you have to forgive me for leaning and stuff like that. I have some problems with my back, so this has not been the most comfortable thing to do this afternoon. Are any other questions? Okay, brothers, thank you all very much. God bless you all.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Luis Guzman, DD 24. I'm going to talk about Surge with Service programs, and then we'll move into the council presentations.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. So I'm going to be brief since we're a little behind. Again, my name is Luis Guzman or Luis Guzman, depending on your language preference. I go by either one, but I keep an old joke alive. People will ask me, so do you go by Luis or Luis, or what do you answer to? And I said, well, either one, as long as you can call me Luis, you can call me Luis, but never call me late for dinner, right? So I'm trying to keep that one alive. But I'm going to be brief. What I'm here to talk about is the service programs. This is the backbone of our dedication to charity. And the backbone of those service programs is the greatest invention since sliced bread. This is fantastic. This fraternal leader success planner. This is fantastic. When I had my organizational meeting, I ran out of these. I happen to have a couple more, but I see that there's a few officers from my councils here. If you didn't get one, please, you can have one. Because the whole calendar is planned out. This is fantastic. So I strongly encourage that all of your officers, all of your councils use those. So, and I have a few more. Go ahead, please take it. Now, there's a few things that I wanted to emphasize about service programs. First is to seek guidance. Guidance about how you do these programs. We've talked about it a little bit already here, that we have a lot of talent in the room. We have a lot of experienced brothers. I have my mentors. I'm brand new at this. I started in July. My mentor, my prime mentor, has been Bob Rash. He's been guiding me this whole time. Dick has been fantastic. Bruce Gillette has been fantastic. All the state officers have been fantastic. There are plenty of people to talk to about, well, how do I run this particular program? I'm responsible for a brand new council. You've heard a couple of the brothers here, 16236. Brand new council started in July, and they are trying to implement programs according to this planner, but they're brand new. They need guidance. And one of the wonderful things about these types of meetings that we have here, and about the fraternity of our brothers, is that we are here for each other. So, and you've heard them ask lots of questions. They're going to ask a lot of questions of you afterwards, probably, because they want to know how to run these programs. They want to know how to run successful recruitment and retention and service programs. The other thing about service programs, is we've talked a little bit about this today, about who do we get to run? Who do we get to volunteer to do some of these things? And one of the most difficult things one of the most difficult tasks that you have as a leader within our order is discerning talent. How do we discern talent? When I was a Grand Knight, I didn't just go up to somebody and say, okay, now you're running the Tootsie Roll drive. I had to learn that there was this one guy, that's all he wanted to do. He liked to run the Tootsie Roll drive, that was his only activity. And you know what? I was happy for it because he ran it from the beginning to the end, and that was the only thing he did all year long. But fortunately, God gave me the grace to discern that talent with that brother and let him run with it. And that's the most difficult thing that we have as leaders. We can't just say, okay, you're doing this. Or I need volunteers and the room goes silent. We have to discern those talents. And I think that's a very important thing that we do, not only as knights within our meetings, but also in our fellowship. Okay, so let's go through some of the slides here. Now this fraternal planning, I'm going to keep touting it. I'm down to 2. How did I know? I've already lost one. Hey, it's going fast. It's going fast. Okay. So, I better, might as well just sell it now at this point, right? Am I allowed to sell these things? Because, I mean, they're in high demand. So, I think they gave me 15 at the organizational meeting. I think I'll ask for double next time. So set up all of your activities in July using this calendar. It's basically here for you, but there's things that you want to add in there as individual councils and individual parishes. For those councils who have had a number of years of programs behind them, solid years, you can use last year's SB7. You can use the Search for Service CD. By the way, not only do I have these CDs and all your DDs and your state officers have these CDs, but they're all online. Everything's online. There's a magnificent set of resources there for you. Keep entering those activities into your success planner and your parish calendar. First, with your success planner, this is not only previews what you're going to do and what you want to do, but keeps track of what you have done, so that way you can put that all on your forms and make sure that you're keeping track of the hours and the activities, the different categories of activities, not only for 3 reasons. Number 1, for awards at the convention. Number 2, for that IRS thing that we keep hearing about. And number 3, most importantly, about building up the domestic church. And this is an initiative everyone has heard about, building up the domestic church. You want to be in cooperation with your pastor. You want to be in cooperation with the parish activities. So you're attempting to, that's where we go into here. Don't fight the pastor. Work with him to accomplish his goals. Now, I've already gotten that question from some of my councils. Every council is different, right? Some councils get along wonderfully with their pastor. I'll use, as an example, 16236, the brand new one from Incarnation. Incarnation, that pastor specifically asked for Knights of Columbus because he got tired of everybody asking him every little thing. Father, do we need a light outside? Father, what kind of meat should we serve with this breakfast? Canadian bacon or bacon? Father, I have a hangnail. It gets out of hand. And as Dick told me once, it all comes to him. If it's too cold in the church, they complain to him. If it's too hot, they complain to him. So we become the strong right arm of the church when we say, Father, we'll take care of it. You let us know what we need, and we'll take care of it. And it's been a wonderful thing to see them grow, 1636 already, in the last 6 months, because in the beginning, they needed a lot of guidance from Father. I mean, obviously, they were brand new. This last business meeting, they did not once ask, well, let's check with Father on this first. They knew what they needed to do, and they're going to go ahead and do it, in cooperation with the pastor, and not having to ask the pastor every little thing. And that is a good example of a council working with their parish. At the same time, there are some pastors who don't like Knights of Columbus for various reasons. And, as Dick told me once, that it may be 40 years ago that pastor had one incident with one order halfway across the world, and therefore he does not like the Knights of Columbus. But we have to remind them that we're here to help, and we have to remind ourselves that we don't want to fight, we're there to help. And it's very difficult to keep reminding ourselves of that. So there are some subtleties involved. I mean, as somebody asked me earlier, am I a canon lawyer? I said, yeah, I don't have the degree just yet, but I know a lot about this stuff. So there's some subtleties involved, but the key thing is that we want to work in cooperation with our parish as this new initiative comes into fruition. Okay, we can keep going. Okay, so let's talk about some of the programs that are from this. You can just do the whole thing. Supreme and the State Council programs. Now, these are the Supreme's featured programs. When you put this on your SP7, these are the things that get, like the RSVP program, for example, there's a matching for vocations. Habitat for Humanity, now I'm going to use as an example, we could get really creative with this stuff. So Habitat for Humanity is a Supreme special program. Now, you can turn it into something, a recruitment drive, also, right? So, depending on your creativity. And you can also turn it into something, a unity among your district or among several councils. Again, I'll use 16236 as an example. They have set up a Habitat for Humanity program on Saturday, March 12th. They're going to use that as a recruitment because it's right around Founders Day, right? Yes, right around Founders Day. No. Or it may be Founders Day. And on top of that, we're going to use that as a district-wide fellowship. We're going to invite all of the councils in my district and other districts, if they want to join us, to start building houses for people in need. How many man hours do you think we'll get out of that? So, same thing with Special Olympics. These are programs that you want to focus on. So if you want something to start with, this is a good place. This is a good place to start. And y'all can read all of these programs here. And of course, if you have any questions about any of them, you have your fraternal planner. Have I covered this enough yet? Yeah. Fraternal planner. I mean, we have our own. I think George mentioned it a minute ago. We have our own little calendar that the DDs and the state officers have that matches this. There it is. There it is.
Pocket calendar right there, and you have all your when forms are due on there. I highlighted with different things. Convention, it's all there. It's a little pocket thing. I know it's old school, but it works.
Excellent, excellent. Now, remember that these are also, not only are these programs for charity, but these are also recruitment tools. Okay, these are, I heard, let me share with you one story. When I used to work for the Diocesan Tribunal, I received a call from someone, a woman who was obviously elderly, and just said to me, hey, look, I don't know what I need to do. What do I need to do to start going back to church? I haven't been to Mass in 30 years. And you're going to get guys like that. I haven't been to a meeting in 30 years. I haven't been to a meeting in a long time. What do I need to do? Anybody guess what I said? Do it. Exactly. Well, actually, because she was a little old lady and I was in a festive mood, I said, well, you're in luck. About 3 years ago, we got rid of the membership cards. Now, we have membership cards, but if that brother still is, even if he is inactive, I mean, I haven't heard, I can't count how many times I've heard that I'm in an inactive night. I don't even know what that means. It just means he hasn't been doing much in a while. Maybe he hasn't paid his dues, but hasn't been suspended. I don't know what that means. I mean, so if you're in an active night, you still have a member number. You might not even have a card, but guess what? You can come to the meeting. Come back to church. Come back to your parish. All it takes is for you to walk in and say, I'm here and I want to help. And that's what we're doing with these programs. Because that new member comes in and says, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what kind of form did I need to fill out. No, don't worry about it. Just come to the meeting and participate in one of these things. And your job as one of the leaders of this council is to determine that person's talent and give them that task. Because God is calling them to that task. And that's what these service programs are. It's a manifestation of our God-given talents. And we can't do everything, but we can do something. All right, I'm going to hand it over to our council presentation since we're up against some time here. Unless there was something else I was supposed to do. Nope. Okay, well, why don't we skip it and go to our council presentation? Oh, excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so now this is the portion. Please, there's a question.
I heard you were talking about IRS. I want to tell everybody here, do not contact IRS. Go to Supreme Legal Department. Because I know cases where people have really made a big mess out of this. So go to Supreme Legal Department. Do not contact IRS directly. Okay?
What a fantastic tip. In case anybody didn't hear that. I know how badly you want to talk to the IRS. I know you wake up every morning saying, I really want to talk to the IRS. But for those of you who are so moved to talk to the IRS over the council, then please take brother's advice. Resist that temptation and call the Supreme. They're there to help you. The state officers, the Supreme officers, they're there to help you. Let them deal with the IRS. Amen. All right, so now I'd like to turn it over to our councils. Our councils are going to give some presentations about what they're doing specifically with their programs, and I'd like to start with 5618. Please.
Brother?
Yes.
One thing on your presentation there, dealing with the pastors and so forth. I think it behooves every one of you to look at your pastor and why is he not a member of your council? Because nobody's ever filled out the form to transfer him in. Make him a member of your council, make him feel welcome at meetings, let him get his Columbia there, because most of them, their Columbia is going somewhere where they were. I know a pastor of a suspended council up here who's still a member in Apopka, and he's been gone from Apopka for 8 years. So what I'm saying is, get your pastor, a member of your council, fill out that form for him, get him to sign it, and then encourage him and talk to him about progress in meetings and things. You should become more involved and want to be more of a part of you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tom Prisbila. I'm the Grand Knight from Council 5618 in Altamont Springs. And last year we had two very successful events. The first one was in supporting vocations. We hold an annual vocation fundraising dinner. And last year we raised over $4,000 that we use those funds to distribute to 3 seminarians from the diocese and to St. Mary Magdalene's Father Ed Thompson Vocation Fund. And we give those funds throughout the year. It was successful because we took advantage of every opportunity that we had to request funds. So for 2 weekends prior to the dinner, we were able to sell tickets after every Mass. This time, we also asked for donations. And we got quite a few for people who just wanted to donate but not go to the dinner. And then we also thought about creative ways of how we could ask for donations at the dinner event itself. So we created some gift baskets, each with a different theme that we raffled off at the dinner. And we raffled off gourmet cakes, compliments of 2112, Council 2112. And it's not all about asking for donations at the event. We also gave out door prizes at the dinner. Our second initiative was in supporting pro-life initiatives, and that was the last Labs for Life event. One of our council brothers came to us and said that he and his family wanted to offer an incentive program for our council. And it was that if our council, raised $7,500, then they would donate $7,500 to this event. So we took advantage of this. And we did that we had 4 teams that were created. It generated some friendly competition. We promoted Labs for Life and our specific incentive program at the 6 different Lenten fish fry dinners that we held at St. Mary Magdalene Parish. And then we also got creative. We created a short video that promoted this incentive, the 4 different teams. And we used that to send out in emails, putting it on our website, and adding a link to our monthly newsletter. As a result, our council raised over almost $16,000 for this great event. That's all I have. Next person.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Let me call up next. One of the things that we talked about a minute ago is stepping up, some leaders who stepped up. And we had at St. Augustine Council, I can't even remember the name, this is in the number, it's in Castleberry. We had our Grand Knight resign in October, and this gentleman, this Brother Knight, stepped up from the regular membership. He wasn't even an officer. So I want to bring up Concepcion Serrano to talk about the St. Augustine Council. You know, make sure he has one of these, because I don't think he has one yet.
Give him yours.
He wants one now.
Good morning, everybody. First, probably I have a big accent in the language because I have a few problems in my throat. But I hope so you guys understood me. Yes, I just erupted. I don't have yet a first business meeting yet. Gonna be next Thursday. But I'm Grand Nias 15266 in Castleberry, San Agustin, in Castleberry, and I'm going to try to do my best there. I planning to do a few things there. First one, I'm going to try to accomplish what Father McGinnis principle. Second one, I'm going to work together with all members, with the pastor in my church, also is a Grand Knight. And the deacon that going to be with us is a 4th-degree grad. It's a 4th degree. We also do a lot of things in the past 6 months, like Grand Columbus Dinner and Dance in last October was very good. We made about $2,000 in profit. That's 50% to the church. Also, we do Thanksgiving dinner, and was very good. We do, the last time we do breakfast was the family holiday breakfast, and was very good. For the next 6 months, we're going to do a lot of work on weekends. We're going to do breakfast, lunches, and we're going to do Easter, dance and dinner. And we hope we can bring to the council few new members, and I hope Sean can help me with the new people that are coming, that I know is coming. I'm going trying to bring about 50 people that are inactive, or inactive no, they don't come into the meeting. I'm going try to bring them back to the council. I already going to send an email for the today for the next meeting that they are welcome back to the council. I'm going to explain why. Other thing that we love to do is work with some other council around us, you know, to interact with ideas between us and put it each council in better level, next level. So far, I expected that as a Grand Knight for the first time, I know I have a good backup, Mr. Goswan, and I tell you guys, I'm proud, I'm blessed to be a knight. And for that reason, I have to accomplish all that we have to do. Thank you.
Okay, the next council I'd like to call up is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to point out that council last year was quadruple star council.
Yes. So the next council I'd like to bring up is St. Francis in Apopka. John, David? Yeah. Thank you.
It's my job. I'll be quick, which normally is hard to do anyway with me. But I'm Nick Brown's son, so that works. There's two programs. One, you're talking about retention. One thing I've done is there's a program called Welcome Back Brother. Well, I took that and I made it into a Welcome Back Brother to a picnic. And I did a picnic and just invited everyone personally, calling every single member. The other thing I've done is I heard a lot before, well, I don't know who to help with youth, who to help with this, who to help with that. As Grand Night, you can run that wonderful report from Supreme that tells you everything they're interested in. And you know what they're interested in. So you can go, well, you filled out on your form, you were interested in youth. Here's a youth activity. He can't tell you no, he filled it out. So that's pretty helpful. The other thing, as Grand Night, I know sometimes we lose touch of our guys through email and everything else. I just exported all their birthdays and I called every single member on their birthday. It's 10 seconds. Hey man, I just want to wish you a happy birthday from the council. Done. Now, sometimes it's a little busy because somehow a lot of our birthdays are in December, but in general, it's pretty quick. The other thing is, my council's been around for 20 years, which means that I got a lot of Grand Nights. And when you're a brand new Grand Night, you get a lot of input from outside. Sometimes that's not so helpful in the middle of a meeting. Because you hear, well, when I was Grand Night, almost 20 years ago, hush. So what I've done to take that away and get it in a more positive fact, I invite all my Grand Nights out, usually twice a year, to go have beer with me. As a new Grand Night, I go to them and say, guys, I'm stuck. I can't figure this out. Can you guys help me? And they do. Because they're like, oh yeah, when I was Grand Night, I did this, this, this. Why didn't you tell me that politely in the meeting instead of standing up and heckling me? So that's kind of what you can do. You can lean on them. And the other thing is you said, how do you get a member to take over? My job as Grand Night is to find my replacement. And then his job is to find his replacement. I mean, it's easier if David is my deputy Grand Night, if he finds his replacement, you know, because you're going to move in the trustee or whatever else you do. And the last thing I'll say, like I said, keeping it short, is everyone pretty much has smartphones. Everyone. I am as digital as you can be. Everything on search for service, everything on my budget is all online. So when someone says I'm taking over for this plan, I just send them the form. It's one link, send, forward, email. You got it. Here it is. They don't have to remember a book. They don't have to remember anything. The other thing that happens is I ask anyone, if you take pictures or whatever, send it to me. How many people have watched a YouTube video? Everyone. I guarantee it. Well, I put our council events that I record on my smartphone up on YouTube. It's free. I send out, hey, new video on YouTube. Everyone watches it. Done. They're like, well, why wasn't I invited? Whoa. You were invited. You just decided not to show up. It's open to everyone. Why don't you come? I'll be there waiting for you with your hand. And the last thing I'll say is, as Deputy Grand Night and Grand Night, in your meetings, I know it's absolutely insanity when you walk in, everyone's like, hey, 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 hey. Go around and handshake every single person. And it's a solid handshake. If you give one of them fish handshakes, I'll call it, don't bother. Just go stand in the corner, because no one's going to trust you. Just grab their hand and go, hey man, nice to see you. I cannot remember names for the life of me. But I can remember, hey man, how you doing? Because hopefully there are no women at your meetings.
Better not be.
That's why I said it.
What a fantastic job and how much he's doing. And this is one of these councils where the pastor's not friendly. over at St. Francis. So you've seen John's enthusiasm and how much he wants to do despite that. So this is another testament to, another witness to how much cooperation we can have with our parish despite a pastor's lukewarm reception. So let me move on to another council annunciation in Altamont Springs, please.
Good morning. Some of the things that I brought a nice list, 3 pages long, but I'm not going to go through everything because I want to avoid redundancy because I know a lot of the things that our parishers, our council is doing, you're also participating in. But a few of the things that we had a lot of success with lately would be for seasonal, as far as the keep price to Christmas magnet sales. We can't order enough. Everyone wants them, they're on their cars, they're on their refrigerators at home. It's really been successful for us. And also we find a good tool for us too is we're fortunate enough to have a Catholic Academy with us, with our council and our parish. It allows us through the sporting events to offer different things to the kids at the academy and also get their parents there and introduce ourselves to the fathers. So I would totally recommend that if you have an opportunity to do that. We also support our parish with our golf tournament. We split funds with the church. We have a Bowl for Charity event. We have, again, the soccer challenges and the basketball game and free throw contest. And again, just to avoid redundancy, I'd probably leave it at that. A lot of the things that we do in our council is the same thing you gentlemen are doing.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least, but you've heard a lot about them, I'm going to call up the representatives from Incarnation Council 16236 in College Park. It might be helpful too if you give them a little bit of history. Since you're a brand new council, the history of your church and the history of the council.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Luis Rosas. I am the Grand Knight of the new council 16236 in Incarnation, as Luis Guzman said. Little background, they used to be over there at the Anglican Church, and they did a full conversion into the Catholic Church back in 2012. So they are fully under the Catholic Church, under the Pope, etc., etc. We started the council, as we said, back in July. This is our first council at the church. Small council, we have about 23 members, 24 members. Like Luis has said, our pastor is very supportive of our council. We're there for our pastor, Father Doc. One of the things that we haven't heard is a new idea that our financial secretary came up with from an idea he got up north. Candlelight adoration of the Blessed Sacraments. Every first Friday, we have candlelight adoration. Basically, all the lights in the church are dim. We have tea lights up and down the aisle. Outside, we have additional tea lights out there. It's very beautiful. We do everything for Jesus. Whether one person shows up, 50 people show up, 75 people show up. It's been great. Just after our the first time we did this, we got a gracious donation from one of our church attendees of $2,000 because he was very gracious on what we're doing, not just for the community, but for Jesus. So we always have to keep that in mind. You do everything for Jesus. Again, we've done. We're doing blood drives, Tootsie Roll drive. We've done one so far. We've raised over $600 on a Tootsie Roll drive. Habitat for Humanity, as we said, we've had one coming up in March. Fifth Sunday Rosary, that's been very successful at our church. As we all know, that's something from Supreme. We've maintained with every single one of the Fifth Sunday Rosaries. Very positive feedback. Everybody's very gracious about that. Pancake brunch. We've done that every month for the RSVP program. very successful. People come in, they donate, they give. They're very a lot of fellowship happens there. So that's very successful as well. And every Monday we have bingo. When 1 year we've come close to donating to the church $10,000. So in 1 year we've, that's and I know Father Doc is very gracious for those donations. And that's about it.
Before I pass the microphone along, I want to thank Bob Roch, because all of this has been his. I've only been doing this since July. So the new council, the quadruple star council in my district, it's all for Bob's efforts. So I want to thank him. Oh yes, please. You have a question?
Yes. Can Council 2112 stand up and say something?
You'll get a chance.
We'll get there. We can. Okay, great. Thank you.
Wait a minute, not
now.
Not now.
Why not?
You'll be told when you can get up.
Not yet, Ralph. You'll get a turn. Calm down, Ralph. You'll be all right. You'll get a turn, Ralph. It's all right. Okay. Inhale. Breathe through the nose and out through the mouth, Ralph. You'll be all right. All right. Since I have the microphone, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Within my home council is chair and co-chair of Laughs for Life. Jason, I want you to come on up here and tell us a little bit about Laughs for Life.
Thank you, guys.
Is that one horse? No, that black one. Probably so. No, that one. Oh, it is. Look at that. Yeah, over.
Somebody brought a nice little display. I'm going to be quick, guys, because I know you're under time constraints. Laughs for Life, many of the councils in here have participated the last couple of years. Since its inception, I can't hold this. Since its inception, we've raised over $111,000 with matching funds. With matching funds, 7 ultrasound machines have been purchased, which is totally awesome. This is an event, if you're looking for something to engage the old and young alike, this is the event. We had over 200 registered youth at the event this past year. We had 18 councils participate, so that's the whole unity part, guys. We can do more with numbers. That's a non-negotiable. We may disagree on a lot of things when it comes to being our faith or the things that are out there right now, but the non-negotiable is being pro-life. As a Brother Knight, that's what we stand up for. We have to support these pregnancy centers. That's what the ultrasound initiative is about. The Planned Parenthood, they get funding from the government. They get big funding. These pregnancy centers are starving. Some of them are so this year, we're going to actually be doing scholarships also. In conjunction with the state council, with Vinny Cipriano, we're actually going to be helping support the actual operations at some of the pregnancy centers. So we have 6 that we're going to support. It's an event, it's a walk-a-thon to be able to raise awareness, raise funds for ultrasound machines. There's going to be games, an opportunity for youth to get involved. This year we're getting a little technical. We're going to have RFID chips that will actually track your labs. An event company that's going to actually help us run this, and we're expanding. This year's event is going to be April 16th. A month later, at Father Lopez High School, it's going to be May 14th in Volusia County. So it's starting to branch out, starting to take off. I know several people at state said they would like to see this in every Catholic high school in the state of Florida, and that would be an awesome thing. We have a come and see meeting January 23rd. It's going to be at St. James at 1 p.m. Just come and learn about it. If you're not engaged now and you're wondering how to get guys involved in your council, your youth, your kids, be able to raise money for ultrasound equipment or for these pregnancy centers, come over, check it out. Vinny Cipriano from the State Council will be there to answer any of your questions. We will also have somebody from the diocese to assist because, this is what it's all about, guys. That is the latest technology. That's a 4D machine. We're able to put 5 machines in pregnancy centers this past year, and a couple of them were able to do a 4D technology. So, a mom goes in there, it's just a blob of tissue, and she leaves, and that's my baby. So that's what this makes a difference. These are the weapons that these pregnancy centers need. They need the tools, and we have to help them. So I encourage you guys to participate in whatever you can. And if I don't pass off to Alejandro, the pro-life director, and at least he has some events he just wants to mention real quick, and
Yeah,
see.
thank you guys. Yeah, I'm the pro-life director for the Diocese of Orlando for Knights of Columbus. And I just want to mention real quick some events that I've already shared with most of our DDs, but just as a reminder, that we have the March for Life up in St. Augustine, January 16th, that's next Saturday. Please encourage your membership to go. We know the huge one that happens in DC, but we have the opportunity here in our own state to stand up for life, so please go to that. It's organized by the Diocese of St. Augustine, so a lot of Knights from all over the state go.
What time and where?
Okay, so it starts at 10 a.m. at the Mission in St. Augustine. That's in the main road. I'm sure you guys know where La Leche Shrine is and the Mission number that yells. I'm going to send you guys information about it. But it starts at 10 a.m. and we march to the center of the town by the cathedral, and we have speakers that'll talk about pro-life issues with us. Then on January 30th, we have a Celebration of Life event at First Baptist of Orlando that's being put up by First Baptist and the Diocese of Orlando. We're going to have people from a bunch of different denominations come. We're going to have big speakers come from around the country. I'm going to be the MC, so I'd love for you guys to be there. Jason's going to be there also talking about Laps for Life. And last but not least, at St. Augustine's Parish at 9 a.m. on February 6th, we have the Helpers Mass and Rosary Procession. We will process to the abortion clinic nearby and pray in front of the abortion clinic. We do that every first Saturday from October up to Holy Saturday, so please join us for that. Thank you, gentlemen.
40
yeah.
days, 40 days.
And 40 days for life, sure. Eric, do you want to say something real quick?
Oh, sure.
No, real quick. Sorry, guys.
I don't have the dates right now, but 40 days for life, 40 days, so 80 days during this year, during that 80 days this year, last year, we've saved, I think at least in Orlando alone, we've at least saved a dozen lives. Okay, a dozen babies have been saved by people standing outside of the abortion clinic. I mean, the people out there, we pray. Most of them, we pray out front of the abortion clinic. We say our rosaries silently, but sometimes the women need somebody there to come down to talk to. If there's nobody out there, Knights of Columbus, as we've been saying, and I've heard it saying, it's so important to us.
Yeah.
Right down here, Tampa Avenue, right across from the Citrus Bowl, in one of the poorest neighborhoods, we have a clinic that preys on the poor. We have a chance to shut that baby down. And the reason why, I want to let everybody know a little secret, is that abortion clinic has funded an abortion clinic down, they try to open up an abortion clinic, but it's now just a clinic down in Kissimmee. They funded opening that up. They mortgaged their property. They tried on Facebook to sell their property so that they could rent it back because they are lacking of funds. Every abortion that they miss, they're missing $800 from their pocket. Guys, Knights of Columbus, I stand out there on Thursdays, I stand out there on Sundays. I challenge every single council, every single church, get out there. I don't care what day it is, if you are if you work in the city of Orlando, anywhere, after work, walk out there, say a rosary, and go home. It only takes 45 minutes to say a rosary out in front of that clinic. Please, let's show these women, especially on a Saturday when they have all these abortions, that God is here for them through us.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, guys.
So, CDs, please help me spread the information in your councils.
You know, if you can't go pray on the sidewalk, I do a drive-by prayer. I drive by and I pray as I drive by. So if you don't have the time to go to the sidewalk, you can drive by and pray. Unless you don't have to pray a long prayer, just drive by. Last year, one of the babies that we saved, this year, the mother and the grandmother came by and showed us the baby that we saved last year. So it works.
Absolutely.
You can't walk the sidewalk, drive by.
All right, getting back to calling the council. You want to go next, George? George Olson? St. James Council number 12402.
Just one second. I'm coming. Scoot over there. You're right.
As our past Grand Night had mentioned, Laps for Life, we got handouts here, so please try to grab one before you leave today. This is the information. It'll be on the table, and it tells you a little bit about what's going on in Bishop Moore on January 16th.
George, what's on? District, yeah, a couple there. District meeting, January 2016.
Is it inside the KofC folder?
Yes, KofC
Yeah.
folder. Okay. Looks like you skipped something.
Yeah. And then
This one?
January.
Oh, there you go.
Lots to go over today, but I'll try to keep it brief. First of all, you met most of the folks from my council, but I'd also like to introduce our Deputy Grand Knight Rick Brennan, who does a bang-up job for our council. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Brother Mason, Alejandro, and Brother Yabrell, Financial Secretary, had to go to work, so we let him be excused. A lot of things to go over here. I'm going to show you a little bit about the migration. I've shown this in a past meeting. It's grown. The good part about this, I'll give you a little idea of where we've been, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. Some of the top fundraisers, some of the key programs. I want to just give you a little bit overview on our church membership drive, just to give you an idea of how it worked for us. We're going to continue to do that in the future. And then how we're tracking the shining armor progress of each of the, in this case, 17 members that we're trying to get the shining armor. Next chart. Busy chart. This will be in the package. So the legacy, I have the certainly the benefit of District Deputy now being part of that legacy in terms of things that he's put in place at St. James Cathedral over the past 10 years. So those are the things that we've been doing for many years. The middle column here, a lot of the things that our past Grand Knight, Jason Gingras, put in place the last 2 years. And these are the things that I'm putting in place here this year and into future years. So a lot going on right now for the council. The ones in yellow I'm going to highlight in the next couple charts. Okay, next. Okay, this is an idea of the fundraisers for our council. And the way I categorize these are fundraisers that go to multiple charities. Obviously, we do a lot for Laps for Life, but that primarily goes to one charity. We do a lot for Food for the Poor, one charity. But this is the key idea of where our money comes from in terms of the council. So membership dues continues to be a big driver. Right behind that is a monthly pancake breakfast. That's the profits from our monthly pancake breakfast. Very, very involved in terms of the monthly pancake breakfast. And Brother Rick Brennan, my Deputy Grand Knight, heads that up. But this last year alone, 2015, we had almost 600 labor hours dedicated to that. So a lot of people are involved in that from the council. This year, September, we added a homemade baked goods, and this is the wives bringing homemade baked goods to the pancake breakfast. And we sell those separately. And every month we have an idea of who we're going to be dedicating those donations to. So for instance, September we gave the J&J Pregnancy Center, October Wounded Warrior Project. Then in November we gave to Coalition for the Homeless for Christmas gifts for the children. And this month, our one scheduled on January 24th, the proceeds go to vocations. So we'll continue to change that charity each month. Thanks. Okay, this is an idea, very small print here, but this is an idea of where our donations go in terms of the charities. Laps for Life certainly is leading the pack. Our council donated $2,148 last year just as a council. And then we had another $6,700 that was raised by members through the website. So almost $9,000 went to Laps for Life. And then right behind it was the Pregnancy Center. A lot of that money for the Pregnancy Center came through the baby bottle campaign. Over $4,000 came from the baby bottle campaign. So it goes down through the list. I tried to color code it, get an idea of what goes where. So the blue is the culture of life, the purple being community and church, diocese, and red, etc., etc. Next chart will give some idea of the ones I'm going to dwell on. That's the same chart, smaller print, but Laps for Life certainly is a big driver. With our past Grand Knight, Jason Gingras, heading that up for Central Florida for the most part. 5 ultrasound machines, over 340 labor hours are dedicated. We participated actively in the March for Life last year. We will do so again this year.
about 140 labor hours, 20 different participants in that march from our council. And then we had a post-March for Life barbecue at the RV site. So we'll continue, we'll do that again this year, 3 o'clock. J&J Pregnancy Center, very actively involved in this over in West Colonial. I volunteer along with my wife every Tuesday. She actually works with the ladies. I got the easy part. I prepare the donated equipment for donation or distribution to the mothers, but she works with the mothers, expectant mothers, and in some cases has those tough conversations, you know, whether or not to have an abortion. She's had a few of those. A couple times she's come home crying. So it's a tough job, but we have people out there that are doing a tremendous job at that pregnancy center. The ultrasound machine was installed mid-last year. We are providing weekly support, counseling, donation prep, not only 2402, but we also have 2112 participating, and also Holy Family. So we got folks from all 3 councils working on that equipment to prepare it for donation or distribution to the mothers. We went over there and painted 2 offices for them. We installed a display rack right in their entrance areas to make it easier for people to find things. Donations went from the pancake breakfast. About 370 labor hours were dedicated in 2015 just to the pregnancy center. And that's above and beyond the Laps for Life. Baby Bottle campaign was a big driver. $4,800 came in. And then we also support the annual gala that they have at J&J Pregnancy Center. Another thing that we got involved in last year through the work of our past Grand Knight, Jason Gingras, was feeding the homeless at the Christian Service Center. We do that every even month, typically on a Monday, and we serve lunch to probably 200 plus men, women, and children. We buy the lunch, they bring the lunch in, costs $80 each time we go, but we actually pay for the lunch and they bring it in. And then the good part about it is we've had over 28 participants from our council and members, members of wives and spouses and family members. So it's been a real successful program. We're continuing to do that in 2016. And it's really interesting. I brought my grandson there last one, 8 years old. And he had some interesting questions when we left. Real interesting. Why are people starving? I mean, this is an 8-year-old. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about briefly was the membership drive we had last October, right, Columbus Day weekend. Father John McCormick allowed us to do this for the first time. Gave a 2 to 3, in some cases 5-minute presentation. 4 of us speakers over the 6 masses. All 4 of us are here right now. Brother Alejandro, Jason, George Campbell, and myself. We also did a Spanish mass. And you can guess who did that? Brother Alejandro. And then we also had a video and info table set up in the social hall where we usually have our pancake breakfast. And that happened to be the same weekend that the youth group was serving donuts, so that worked out perfect. We recruited 8 new members. 7 of them made their first degree the next week at the same meeting at St. James. 7 made their first degree. The 8th made their first degree the following month. We have 5 prospect cards. 1 Form 100 came out of that so far. We're trying to get the other 4 signed up. But so far, we're having good success. We're just about there on Star Council. But if you're not doing this within your church and your pastor's open to it, I highly recommend it. It's really worked for us. We're also tracking the Shining Armor status on these, in this case, it's 17 different folks that are eligible for it. I'll show you that on the next challenge, on the next page. Very busy chart, but this is how we're tracking it. I'm more than willing to send the chart to you. It's very easy. It's Excel. But it gives you an idea of the individual. We want to get them to a 3rd degree. The dates that they've made their degrees. 3 activities. Some of them have already met that. Whether or not they've attended 3 business meetings. Some of them have already met that. Whether or not they've met with our financial or fraternal benefits advisor, Mr. Brother Sean Williams. And then also whether or not they have a new member that they recruited. This is the hardest one, as you can imagine. Always the hardest one, because new Knights say, well, what do I really know about the Knights of Columbus? A lot of cases, it's difficult. A lot of information comes out of Supreme and State. We tried to personalize it, and we made this trifold for the folks that tells about our council. Give them an idea of what we do, as opposed to, certainly the macro level is important, but they want to know, what can I do? What can I do at the council level versus at the Supreme level? So we try to more personalize that. We've had, right now you can question whether we've had success because we don't have a lot of blanks in this column, but we're trying to make it easier for these new nights to recruit new members. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, George. You're doing a great job. One of the reasons that our pastor was able to give us a little time during the masses was he was aware that we were doing good, but he wasn't fully aware of what we were doing good. So we informed him of what we were doing, and guess what? His eyes, he was made aware of everything, and his eyes got really wide. So gentlemen, I've said this before, don't assume that your pastor knows what's going on in his own parish. You need to let them know, okay? I'd like to call on John from 11488. Come on up, John Foster.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am John Foster, the Grand Knight for the 5th time at Holy Family. I think it's number 4, but I'm going to do it until I get it right. I can echo that a lot of the programs that you are doing, we are doing, but I'd like to bring to your attention to some of the things that we're doing that's over and above. When I was the Deputy Grand Knight, Don Kara was my Grand Knight. And I followed his footsteps, my trainer, my mentor, big shoes to follow. And I'm working that way. We do a thing here called the Fall Festival. In 1996, we began our very first Fall Festival under the tutelage of our pastor at that time, Father William Ennis. Our first Fall Festival was not so successful. We only made about $25,000, of which we gave the Father his cut. It's about $19,000 he was displeased. He thought we should have given him more money. The second year, we learned some lessons, and so we made over $100,000. So we gave Father over $50,000 in cash. The third year, we were more successful, and they wound up giving him pretty close to $100,000.
May I turn it off?
Am I on?
I think you can turn it off with your finger.
Oh, I love these things.
Technology.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
For my next act. Anyway, the other members of the council caught on, and they thought the Fall Festival was a good thing. It's no longer a Knights of Columbus Holy function. It's now the entire church. We're unique in that we have 2 men's clubs at the same church. The Men of Holy Family and the Knights of Columbus. At one time, we would pass each other in the hall and turn our faces away from each other because we really didn't like each other. But let me tell you now, probably next year will be the Vice President of the Men of Holy Family. Can't be it now because I'm still the Grand Knight. But I've accepted their challenge and I told them I can do better. If you come to our breakfast, you'll find me at the line serving eggs and bacon. If you come to our fish fry, you'll see me serving anything but coleslaw. That smell of coleslaw, you cannot wash that out of your clothes. But I will work anything to further the relationship, or to better the relationship between the Men of Holy Family and the Knights of Columbus. And we're doing a fantastic job. This past year, we sold over 500 Christmas trees. 500 Christmas trees. The average cost of a Christmas tree was about $200. We had some that were selling for $700, but they were 14 feet tall and humongous Christmas trees. Now, our church sits in a very affluent community. Affluent. Lots of money. Across the street is Bay Hill. Around the corner and down the block is Ellsworth. And then around the corner from both of those 2 communities is Windermere. Lots of money. Lots of money. We have a new priest, Father John, who came out of Leesburg. And his masses are on television every Sunday at 2 o'clock. He is a 4th-degree knight. And he came to me last week and he said, John, you have a priest that supports the knights. I was honest with him. I said, no, sir, we've had problems with that in the past. And he looked at me and said, not anymore. I'm your priest. What can I do to help you? So I said, come to the meeting. Our meeting's on, and we're having a special meeting on his behalf. I said, come to the meeting and say a few words and bless the flock.
And it's hard for me to get 30 people to come to a meeting. Again, we're a very affluent community, very affluent. Like that kid who can't go to jail because he's very affluent. But I don't dwell on that. We do 6 spaghetti dinners every year. 6 spaghetti dinners. And they look forward to our spaghetti dinners because after eating fish for a month, spaghetti dinner with meatballs and sausage is a very tantalizing meal. Can you hear me without this?
Yes.
Okay. I'll come real close. If I step on you, I apologize, okay? We do a St. Patrick's Day dinner dance every March. However, this year around, we're not going to do one because the priest who was of an Irish flavor has since retired. Father John does not like St. Patrick's Day, so we're going to do another spaghetti dinner. We do a St. Patrick's Day dinner dance every year. We do that for the homeless Wounded Warrior program. I'm on the committee of that program, and it's my pleasure to represent the Knights of Columbus every year. So far, we've dedicated 5 houses to veterans who returned from the Iraqi war, and due to extensive injuries, that we support them. They get a house paid in full, fully, everything that you can imagine to meet their deficiencies, in order they can continue to survive within our community. I'll give you a story about that. Last year, I made the announcement that I'm also in charge of that program. I said we could wear our uniforms that day. And I put the word out to all the people who were coming. There's a couple of Navy captains, some World War II uniforms. And when I walked out there in my uniform, they said, "We didn't know you were a colonel." Yeah, I am a colonel. 32 years, a wounded veteran from Vietnam. And they were all appalled. I said, "Well, can we do that again next year? This year?" My own opinion is we're going to do it again this year. So if you want to come out and have a good time, if you're a veteran, Holy Family's putting it on February the 13th. It's $25, and I guarantee if you don't like your meal, we'll give you your money back. If you do like it, you owe us another meal. Laps for Life. When Jason came to me a year ago, talking about Laps for Life, one of my guys stepped forward and said, "Boss, I want to be in charge of that program, Mike Valero." And I said, "Okay, Mike, it's all yours." And we started out by taking out of our funds $500 to get it off and started. And before you can imagine this magic thing happened, all of a sudden, I'm running in that race and I've got $1,500. Didn't walk a block. But the day of the run, it was a fantastic event. Fantastic. About 2 years ago, wheelchairs came up. And our council, I got this beautiful plaque, and it says, for Council 11-488, outstanding results, wheelchair program, plus $1,500. I've yet to get the money. The plaque is beautiful. Every meal or every function that we put on, we make it a membership drive. If you come eat one of our breakfasts, you see at your table that you're sitting, a program announcing our initiatives for a membership drive within the Knights of Columbus. Every meeting you're going to see something like that. We're fortunate again too that we sponsor our Sea Scouts, Boy Scouts, and Cub Scouts program. We pay their annual dues. And the only thing that we ask them to do is walk around with these posters that they're putting on their program as Become a Knight. We're still trying to get together a Colombian program, and we're having a problem with that. Not on our part, it's just that our school system goes up to the 12th grade, up to the 8th grade, and they transfer over to Bishop Moore. But we're working on that event to make it a lot better. We are a very busy council. Very busy. As George can attest to. Someone asked a question about budget. We started our budget with a loan from our parish. We asked the parish to loan us $1,500 when we did our first fall festival. And we returned that back 3 times. And as we've grown in our partnership with the Men of Holy Family, now when they put on a golf event, they give the church back $100,000. It's not uncommon for them to give the check, and I think Don Carrick can verify this, at one meeting, they'll say to Father Ennis, here's a check for $75,000 this year for our program. And then we give, at the Knights of Columbus, probably about $10,000, $15,000. We give a lot of money to the J&J program, $2,000. We give $2,500 to the veterans programs. Very busy, very affluent church. I welcome you to come on down and sit down and break bread with us. We do provide pizza and beer and Coke after our meeting. And it's a good time. We enjoy ourselves. Any questions? Thanks much, and I appreciate your time.
Right, we are. Are we on?
Yeah, it's working. I have anyone here from 9236 over at St. Andrews? No? Going once? Going twice? All right. Next one up, George, 5958. We're at St. Joseph's Council at St. John Vianney Catholic Church. This is a busy dude right here. Another one with a power stick.
Thank you, Willie. As Willie mentioned, my name is George Ann. I'm the Grand Knight for Council 5958 at St. John Vianney Parish. Yeah, it's either going to be a boring presentation or a real boring presentation, so let's go with the bottom one. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to kind of begin my story by talking about kind of how we began about 2 years ago, where we wanted to get an understanding of basically the perception of our parish with regards to the Knights of Columbus Council at St. Joseph's, okay? St. Joseph's Council at St. John Vianney. So we went out and spoke with Sister Elizabeth, also spoke with Father Miguel, as well as parishioners there and fellow council members to get an idea of what the perception of our council was within the parish. My own perception was consistent with what I was picking up from others, and that is, we have a very humble group of brother knights at St. John Vianney, and perhaps to a fault. Where their work was so clandestine and stealth that people didn't realize what it is we were doing. There's a fine line between being humility and obscurity. And I think we may have passed that some time back. And so I felt it was important that people could see, and we had a presence, and that people could be visible to the parish, and that they see us what we were doing. So a lot of effort has gone behind that in trying to get our work out to the parish, let them see and acknowledge what it is. Not to pat ourselves on the back, but just for them to understand that we're there, and that we became, as I asked Father Miguel, we want to become the go-to ministry here for you when you need something. There are a lot of ministries that have their hand out to say, hey, we kind of need this, we kind of need that, we want to do this, we need kind of your help with that, we need help with funding and such. Our council does not do that. It's all about, as you've heard the other councils today, about giving back in support of. And so it was important that we establish ourselves that way. So if we can go to the first one. So we call this Apostapalooza. It's just a brainstorm that we had as part of the Food for Families program. But what we did was, as many of you in Orlando know, Publix will do the pasta buy one, get one. And so what we basically do is go out and I approach the manager of one of the local Publix and say, here's what we're trying to do. And we buy this in bulk quantities. And we're fortunate so far that they've agreed to let us do that. And we'll go ahead and bring that in. And so we'll buy about 500 pounds of pasta or something like that. We'll have this out in front. And so basically what we're doing is saying, guess what? For the regular price of purchasing one box, the Knights of Columbus will donate the second box on your behalf to St. Vincent de Paul Society. And so we did this about a year ago. And the great response was we were selling out of pasta on Saturday night Mass, we didn't get to Sunday. And so we basically ended up selling the same boxes 12 or 13 times. Basically, for the visibility, so it ends up being the cash equivalent to St. Vincent de Paul, but I didn't want to go back and buy more pasta. So, as you can see, we basically set this up. Again, they can see it's the Knights of Columbus. We have support of our pastor and our parish, so a lot of support by our pastor and our parish, to be able to go ahead and announce that after Mass. Folks come out and understand it. Without him, it's interesting. This year, they forgot to announce it on Saturday night. I don't think we may have sold 6 boxes. Okay, and then you remembered on Sunday, and we sold, again, we were able to donate around $577, $400 to St. Vincent de Paul. We'll cut them a check for that, plus all the pasta. Now, they're allowed to take one with them, but you probably know most parishioners will go ahead and just say, no, just keep it. They'll go ahead and purchase it if you just go ahead and keep it. So whatever they keep, obviously goes to St. Vincent de Paul as well.
So anyway, the equivalent of over 500 pounds of pasta and over $500 just for one day, or one weekend of being out there after Mass. So one way to become visible, to help out the St. Vincent de Paul, we don't get anything out of it, obviously, financially, except for the $100 back from Food and Families from Supreme, which was great. You see it behind us too is coffee and donuts, which is what basically our parish saw us as being. We're the coffee and donuts guys, and we are, but that was it in their mind. And so we had a lot of work to do to try and establish ourselves as being more than that. Next slide, please. Another program we introduced last year, and it's kind of grown this year, and if you're familiar with this, I'm not Dynamic Catholic. This is an opportunity for Knights of Columbus and or parishes to go and purchase. This is online. Matthew Kelly created this program. It's a big program. The bottom line is, as you can see here, you can purchase these books for $3 a piece. They're softcover books. The equivalent hardcover books available to retail are around $40. And so you can see it's the same book, just in the softcover version. The softcover is only available through parishes and through Knights of Columbus and organizations like that. They're not available to outside retail, okay, for the purpose of simply growing the spirituality of your parish. Okay, and so this becomes available, this is available to us, and we took advantage of this a year ago. We basically just charged $3 the nominal fee, $3, to have the books for display, and we sold through it, which was great. We purchased, I don't know, maybe it was $100 just to kind of get an idea what it was going to be like. So this year we went met with Father Miguel and said, what about Rediscover Jesus, is the name of the book this year, that they were offering. And if you bought it in certain quantities, you can get it for $1, but the shipping and handling is about $2, I guess, something like that. Anyway, long story short, we ended up purchasing 750 books in English and 750 in Spanish. Father Miguel met us halfway with the parish, and we handed those out after the Christmas Masses this year. You have an opportunity at Christmas Masses. You have a lot of parishioners that, they come at Easter and they come at Christmas. That's the only time you see them. This is an opportunity for Knights of Columbus to get out there and say, hey, you know what? Here's just a little something to dangle in front of you. This is the one day you're here. Okay, and if you, in your spare time, read this, you can actually bring people back to the church and become active parishioners, as opposed to the 2 times a year or if that. So it was an opportunity for us to do that. We got through all of the English-speaking books that weekend, and a lot of folks were out of town, so we have a few of the books left over on the tables for the Spanish Masses this weekend. So hopefully we'll get them all handed out. But this was just something we donated with regards to our council in conjunction with the parish. And again, in conjunction with Father Miguel, it's us working, and it's the go-to organization for him as we work in concert with him. We make it a point to try and participate in the wheelchair fund every year, and we've donated $1,000 a year since I've been a member for 5-6 years. But we had someone approach them. We were doing a pancake breakfast for the wheelchair fund this year. They came, this gentleman here came to me and he said, well, I see you do that. He goes, so is it possible to get a wheelchair? I said, I don't know. I never asked. All I've done is raise money for this. I've never actually distributed one. So I looked at it, so I'll find out for you. So we did. It was very simple. It was great. I was able to contact Bob, I can't remember his last name, down in Lakeland. He met me down there, went down, took the wheelchair, brought it back. This gentleman's for his mother, who was unable to get a wheelchair. She has a ACV. Was able to get a wheelchair because the insurance wouldn't cover it because she already had the ACV. But this was what they needed, and he was so grateful. He's a member of the choir, and I think he's going to be a member of our council. I want to push him about that, so I think it'll be pretty easy to make that transition. Just an opportunity I wanted to share with you. Just being visible, the pancake breakfast and raising the funds, caused interest on his behalf, and for everybody to be able to go ahead and actually return that and have folks see that as great. So thank you for that. And again, in conjunction in trying to support our parish, this is a maquette of the statues over in Orange Springs, St. John Vianney. The story of St. John Vianney is he was not an intelligent man, but a very spiritual man, and went to it. Orange France was a pretty pagan part of the world when he showed up there, and when he left, people were lined up to see him for the sacrament of reconciliation. I mean, he completely turned that part of the country around. On his way there, though, he got lost. And so on his journey to try and find Orange France and to find his parish, he meets this young boy on the trail, and he basically says, if you can show me the way to my church, I can show you the way to heaven. And that's inscribed at the bottom of the statue that sits in Orange France today. And so it's a very striking and moving statue that's there. Our former pastor, Father Paul Henry, who's now down at the shrine, it was his dream to have the statue on campus, but we couldn't even hardly find an image of this, nor could anyone else, for almost 20 years. Our council was able to do that through technology and 3D printing, etc. I believe the statue is now going to ship at the beginning of next month. So hopefully we'll have it on our church campus in the next 2 months in time for Easter, certainly. So very excited about that. The Knights of Columbus funded this, is delivering it for them. And again, it's not about, the Knights saying, well, hey, can we get permission to do this, permission to do that? It's a matter of, this is what you've been wanting, let us deliver. Let's be the go-to people. We can find a way to make this happen. And because of that, for the school and the church, the requests are becoming more frequently. They didn't know who to ask before. Someone said earlier, it was kind of like they didn't know where to go, and it all falls on the pastor. They know who to go to now, and we're very proud about that. We're still humble, but we're excited within, internally, to do that. And so I just want to make sure I show you that's what we have as far as the presentation. That's our journey, where we've been, and we'll continue to try and build up the body of Christ in St. John Vianney Parish. Thank you very much. This translated for us. The purpose of this was for the men in the parish to see who we really were doing, And so last year we didn't push too hard on recruitment because we didn't have a whole lot to talk about. We didn't know who we were, and rather than having to do that through words, we chose to do it through actions for a year. And then we went to the membership. We went to the membership drive and had an opportunity to speak at the pulpit this year, which translated. It wasn't so much it was both, I'm sure. It was the invitation, obviously, in July and August, membership drive that we did, but it was certainly the fact that people understood who we were and what we were about that allowed us to already have 17 new members this year, and we have 4 more joining us on Tuesday. So we've had a lot of luck in that regard. They had to do more with being present and letting people know who we are. And so if that helps any of the new councils or councils out there, I hope it does. Thank you.
That's a great example of touching people's lives. And that council is focused on the Columbian Award, Columbian Award, Columbian Award, and guess what? That Columbian Award is being taken to the Star Council Award. So that's a great example right here. Worthy, Mr. Brown?
Thank you. Obviously, we are running behind the schedule, which was extremely optimistic. And so at this point, Tony, you want to call up your councils, and I'll be the last group. And I hope you'll stay with us. We are going to run over noon time. Obviously, there's a bunch of other stuff we'd like to do as well. And I want to have the state deputy have an opportunity to speak to you as well.
Again, good afternoon, brothers. Please, State Deputy. First one we'll call up is 6624. So we'll go. These shouldn't take long. We're consolidating things. So.
Yeah, I got an appointment to go to, so this is going to be quick. I'm Phil Rebel, Grand Knight 6624. We're a very seasoned council, 41 years. We have a music director at Holy Redeemer, Lewis Cantor, who wrote some original music about abortion and forgiveness and everything. It's called the Requiem of the Innocents. We sponsored that back on the 1st of November, and we took donations at the end of the concert, which was awesome. And we received just shy of $2,000 donations, which will be going towards the Last for Life. They're also having another one of those on Friday, the 29th of January, at Good Shepherd. Gave the Grand Knight the information so he can send the flyer out and information. Beautiful music. They're selling CDs too. It's been published. Everything's great there. We did, one of our biggest events is always our bingo. Our bingo draws in a lot of money, and we use that for our scholarships. We use it for turkeys and various other things. One of the things that we do is we added a special game in our bingo, which half the year goes towards scholarship, and the other half of the year goes for Kids for Christmas. And we do a donation of $1,000 for Kids for Christmas, and we end up doing about 6 scholarships, $1,000 a piece. So we're very big with that. We also participated in a day after Thanksgiving dinner for the needy at Holy Redeemer Social Hall, which we donated 40 turkeys for. Florida Hospital, Kissimmee cooked them for us, cut them for us, and everything else. It was a great event. They were very appreciative. We also did, we had a request from the school, Holy Redeemer School, for Bibles. and we went out and purchased 130 Bibles for the 5th, 6th, and 7th graders at the school there. We also purchased another 100 Bibles for the Holy Redeemer gift store so that they could sell and make some money for the church. Where's the our deputy president? There you are.
District Deputy. No more happy hours, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 2, 3, 5. Ben, would you like to say something for your council? Again, this council has already met their membership goal for this year.
I'm here accidentally. I'm Pastor Gragnay. Gragnay called me yesterday and said if I can come to this meeting. I said, okay. I guess he sent an email saying that this meeting was tomorrow, Sunday. And I called this morning, I'm here at the meeting, where are you? And I think he's out of town today. I didn't prepare anything because he didn't tell me that I had to prepare something to bring to this meeting. But what I can say is that we're going to have a cold communion mass at the end of this month. We're going to have also a pancake breakfast. We are preparing for the fish fry for Lent. And we're going to have also a pancake breakfast the last Sunday this month. April Mass. That's what I have today. Thank you.
You've also got one of the most beautiful villages for the Christmas decoration of a whole village. It's beautiful.
In the first, I usually, in my course of events, I attend 2 fish fries. I used to be able to get to yours on Friday. I do get to the one in Holy Family the last Friday, the Bay Hill Invitational, because I volunteer and work out there as well. Okay, 15357. Day message. This is one of our newest councils in this district. We're about 4 years old now, Liv.
Hello, I'm Dave Stage, Grand Knight of St. Thomas Aquinas in St. Cloud, Florida. Like all your other councils, let me say that we are active. We have been active for a number of years. I came into the Knights of Columbus about 4 years ago. Probably 3 months into becoming a knight, I was asked to be an officer. I took that in stride and worked my way through the chairs to the Grand Knight. I find it a privilege to be the Grand Knight. I'm also the faithful captain of the Assembly and was given the honor of the District Warden under Tony Constantini as of recently. All right, let me say this. As a council, we are very active. I listened to the fundraisers, PowerPoints. I didn't expect that I was going to do a PowerPoint on the computer, so I'll just run down some of the things that we do. As a council, we have Tootsie Roll drives, sock hops. I'll do this one. Our fundraisers that we do, and our biggest fundraiser as of yet, is our bread sales. We have a brother, Steve LeMay, who is a gentleman who was a chef, went out and bought an $80,000 mobile trailer in order to bake bread. He came to us 2 years ago and offered to help us during our fish fries, offered to help bake fresh bread during Christmas and in Easter and a couple times a year as fundraisers for us. We just did, on the 27th of December, which was in conjunction with our Back to the North Pole pancake breakfast with Santa. Sounds kind of foolish, but I sold it as it was 86 degrees. Santa was on his way back to the North Pole and decided to stay in Florida. Great weather. He stayed out at Blizzard Beach. and enjoyed the weather. For the 3 hours that we did the bread sales after the Sunday masses, we did over 520 loaves at $5 a loaf. Came out to $2,600 just in that. Most of the bread that we did wasn't just Italian bread or rosemary bread. We were able to sell pastries, fantastic pastries. We have cinnamon rolls, pull-apart bread, fruit stuff. In that last year, when we did the Easter sales, on Easter Sunday, we were able to sell it at the church. And again, it is a mobile bakery. We're right there in the breezeway of the church. So when people are coming out of Mass, the first thing they're going to get hit with is the smell of fresh bread. $8 a loaf, $5 a loaf. We made almost $5,000 in that 3 hours of Easter Masses. Okay, that $5,000 we were able to offer and help out with the church renovation, our social hall. We put $2,000 into the kitchen renovation. We were able to offer $1,000 to the school, help out with the youth group program and gave them $500. Sponsored 2 of their children to go on their youth ministry trip. Some of that money, some of the programs that we also do, we in conjunction helped out Jason Gingrich with Laps for Life. We were able to last year host a facility. The First Baptist Church of Kissimmee came to us. They're not a Catholic organization, but they have a women's shelter there, or a women's center there. They came to us and asked us if we could help them raise money for their program to get a Laps for Life machine in there. I went to Jason. I've been talking with Jason from the inception, and I thought it was a great idea. I took the bull by the horn, went to my council, talked to them, promoted it as much as I could. I have been lucky in the last 2 years that we did the Laps for Life to come in second place both years in laps. I won it first. Gentleman made 100 laps, came out to 22.5 miles of walking around that track. I was able to do 71 laps, which turned out to like 17 and some odd miles. Legs were killing me. Each year I said, I'm going to promote it, I'm going to do better. The year before, our biggest program that we had was our baby bottle program. The baby bottle drive that we had for the grand night previous of me and the one before him, we were able to raise 1 year over $8,400 for the baby bottle program. And then the year after that, we were able to raise $7,500. The pastor this year decided we wanted to try to do a different fundraiser and hold off on the baby bottle program and then start it up next year. We do sock hops, we do fish fries, we participate in the handbag bingos with the church PTO, the school PTO. Halloween party for the kids at Christmas. We have Christmas programs, Christmas dinners. January 23rd coming up, we have the clergy and altar server appreciation dinner coming up. February 4th, we have the honor roll dinner that the Knights of Columbus host for the children in the school. We are lucky enough to have a school, a JMJ, and a free medical center set up on our campus. So I've got everything there. I'm doing everything this year as Grand Night to push so that we can get money for them. November 7th, our free medical center had a golf tournament set up. They were able to raise over $30,000 for that. The J&J Center that we have last year was able to raise, I believe it was about $27,000 for their stuff. This year we decided, instead of having a baby bottle program, that we were going to help in conjunction with our CCW and do a baby shower in which we purchase supplies for the J&J. We go to them and ask them, what do you need? What can we provide you for, so that we can stockpile for them? One of our programs that I started this year, and I reached out to a number of the councils here, is our Christmas program, our Christmas parade. St. Cloud, Florida has a Christmas parade the first Saturday of every year. In years past, my daughters were cheerleaders, participated in the parade, and I always thought, where are the Knights of Columbus? Why aren't they represented? So this year I took the initiative. I contacted the assemblies, a number of the councils, and I asked them if they can help us participate, walk with us. It's a 2-mile walk. If you couldn't walk, you could ride in the trailer or the truck that we have. I'll put a plea out there right now, and an invitation. Any of you brothers that can help us for the St. Cloud Parade next year, I would ask that you contact me. I would love to see a huge turnout of councils and assemblies to help us out. We raised money and donated 100 Bibles to the Faith Formation Program. That's probably about it. I appreciate all your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, you go. Who's next? Dick? You're up.
All right.
Before I introduce my first group, I'm going to do one shameless commercial. Many of you may know we have a charitable dessert program that's in conjunction with St. Charles Borromeo and Annie's European Bakery, which is a division of David's Cookies. There's the refreshments that you'll see back there are some of the products that they have. The program itself is outlined in handouts up here on the table. And as far as the handouts are concerned, the stuff in the front row here is available for you to take with you. The stuff in the back row is for you to take a look at, and if there's something there that you think you want to order, there's a sample of it. Take the number off the form and have your financial secretary order it. With that, Council 2112.
Thank you. Ron Ravante, I'm the Grand Night 2112. And I want to start out, just show you, this is what we do in a typical year. Okay, it's a lot of different activities. We broke it down by monthly, annually, and just some other special things. What we did is we took this and we put it in our membership brochure, which looks a lot like this. So it's on the back page. And when you give this to a candidate and they go, holy crap, look at all the stuff these guys do, that's what makes them want to join and become part of us. So let me move right along. Next slide, please. I wish I had the problem most of you guys have. You have just one parish. I've got 5. So it's a little bit of a challenge. These were our best fundraising programs. First of all, the Tootsie Roll Drive. We were at 7 different locations, all public supermarkets, and we also did Good Shepherd Church. We were invited in by the pastor. 70 different volunteers, and some of those guys did double duty, doing more than one store. Do one store one day, another store another day. We collected over $6,600, and we split that amongst 3 different charities, and believe me, they are grateful. This is just some photos. Okay, the next thing, one of our best programs, youth programs. We do a lot with the youth. We do the basketball free throw. We do a soccer challenge. an annual Easter egg hunt at Good Shepherd Church, 3,000 eggs. That's a lot of eggs. We also do a spelling bee, and we started something new this year. The third Friday of every month, right here, we do a Christian-themed movie for the youths. So if any of you want to come, bring your family or any friends or parishioners, we got plenty of room, and we serve cake afterward. So you're welcome to join us. These are some of the youth activities we do. Okay, improving relationships with the pastors. Like I said, we've got 5 different churches, so they run hot and cold. Good Shepherd Church is up the street. We have a very good relationship with the pastor. We help him with his annual Mardi Gras, which starts the 4th of February and runs through the 7th. So we man a booth, and we did wings one year. Last year we did hot dogs and hamburgers, and we'll be doing it again this year. We also sponsor an Easter egg hunt there. You don't have to be a member of that church. You could be from any of the churches. Bring your kids there. They collect eggs, and they have fun. We hold our communal mass there once a month, the 4th Saturday of the month. And believe it or not, just yesterday, just last night, I got a call. They asked us to help sponsor Lenten fish fries, so we're going to do that for them this year. So this is the Mardi Gras from last year. A lot of fun and a lot of participation. Next, St. Joseph's Church over by Alafaya and Colonial. He's a good pastor. Our relationship with him is kind of lukewarm, but we're starting to improve that. We help him with his annual Oktoberfest Carnival. We assist in the booths and the beer truck. We have more volunteers for the beer truck for some reason. And we also help set up and tear down the tents. St. Margaret Mary, which is in Winter Park on Park Avenue. Very good relationship with the pastor. We provide parking lot security during the annual art festival and some of the other events they have there. We supply the color core when requested. We did a couple of events for them this year to raise money for a pregnancy center. And they also help us with the free throw event by allowing us to use their gym. And then we also help with miscellaneous events. St. Peter and Paul, down the road the other direction, Old Winter Garden Road. We have a warmer relationship with the pastor. He's a knight. His assistant pastor is a knight. And what we do every year, we augment the men's club. So instead of stepping on their toes, we work with them. They've invited us to come back this year and help with another fish fry. So we're doing fish fries at 2 different churches. We also provide color core when the bishop presides there. And what I do is I give the pastor a copy of our newsletter. I hand it to him. I don't mail it. I don't email it. I hand it to him, usually with the check that we give to all our pastors every quarter. And he likes that, because then he associates the money with the knights. So he likes us. This was the fish fry from last year. St. Maximilian Colby, a newer church, actually being run out of a school in their cafeteria. It's over in Avalon. He's a new pastor. He enjoys getting checks from us. I haven't met him yet, but our roundtable representative said that the guy likes us and he's looking forward to working with us this year. Okay, if you want to improve relationships with your pastors, what we plan to do is invite them to our social events. I don't think we've done that in the past. We've only invited some. I'm going to try to get them all here at the same time. I don't think it'll be easy, but with our chaplain's help, I think we can do that. We look forward to strengthening that relationship. Before I finish, Bill, where's the wheelchair?
I just left it over the corner for right now.
Okay, and one of the biggest things we do is a wheelchair drive. And if you buy enough wheelchairs, you actually get one of these trophies there. You can see it on the shelf. If you haven't seen the wheelchair, this is what they look like. They cost $150. And we get a lot of our donations from the monthly 50-50 drives at the meetings. and guys just donate their money toward the wheelchair. But if you've ever seen these in public, the people do appreciate getting them. 150 bucks, you get this beautiful wheelchair. Worthy, that's all I have.
In addition to all those things, they host a DD meeting. Okay, Tom Brown? This is my cousin, Tom Brown. Somewhere back in the chain, I don't know where.
Haven't figured it out yet, Worthy, have you?
Good morning. I'm going to try to make this the Reader's Digest version real quick, since we're short on time. One, so I don't forget, we have an annual golf tournament every year that we usually generates about $5,000, which we give most of the proceeds to the JMJ. Our golf tournament is April 23rd. That's why I'm announcing it, because we're always in need of golfers. Last year, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had 70. And our goal is to have 100 golfers. And the more golfers we have, the more money that we generate and the more money that we give to J&J, because we've made a commitment as a council that J&J gets 47% of the profits. As far as meeting with your pastor, I try to meet with our pastor. We have a good relationship, I feel, with Father Jose, and we have a good relationship with our associate pastor, who comes to all our meetings, and he comes to all of our socials. With Father Jose, I try to meet him once a month, whether it's a lunch or a dinner or just something where I meet with him. But I think as a council, we're very, very active in the church, where everything that we do has a Knights of Columbus logo on it. The Fall Festival, every chair that represents the festival either has a knight or a knight's spouse that's in charge. And like the Colonel was saying, we help with the festival with another group, the Emmaus Men. And as a council, we weren't doing too well on our recruitment. And we just recently, when we did the festival, reached out to the Emmaus Men, and we recruited 4 new members from the Emmaus group. And hopefully we can start recruiting more. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Our Lady of La Salette. This is Chris Singleton, the Grand Knight, coming to the podium.
I'm working on it. I'm doing just what they want.
I am Chris Singleton. I'm the Grand Knight of Our Lady of La Salette Council, 11328. Next slide. Our 2 subjects we chose to discuss was something that's been covered already, so I'll be brief on this, and that's the relationship with our pastor. I'm proud to tell you that we actually have 5 priests and residents on our actual parish grounds that are Knights of Columbus. And our one priest, Father Bill Slight, is the faithful friar of the assembly. But one of the things I think people don't realize is that it's important to foster communication and foster the relationship with the priest to be able to make them nice, to be able to make them part of the order. So one of the things we try to do is socialize with them on our free time. To try to get them to go to sporting events or come to our homes for barbecues, things like that. And I think that, although when I became Grand Knight, our priests were already Knights, that's one of the ways you can do to get them to be part of the council and part of the Knights Order. The other thing is to understand your pastor's interests. goals and needs for the parish. If you can tailor your programs to meet what their needs are, I can't see how it wouldn't be easy to get your pastor behind you. One of the things that, in meeting with our pastor frequently and talking to him at other events, I found out that he's very interested this year in the family. And so, in talking to him and discussing it, not necessarily signing ourselves up right away, he actually suggested to us maybe it would be nice if we could do a fundraiser and sell statues of the Holy Family, which meant a need for him because he's really trying to get people to recognize the importance of the family, but it also meant a need for us as well because we were able to do a small fundraiser. We're going to be doing that this winter. The last thing is, and this hasn't been brought up, but to coordinate and co-sponsor with other parish ministries. I think a pastor's job is to create a sense of community and family. And sometimes if Knights councils kind of segregate themselves, it starts to break up that dynamic. And so what we try to do is we try to coordinate with other ministries in the parish. And one example of that is with the youth group. We know that our youth group is very interested in doing retreats, very interested in getting funds to do that. So we try to do projects that couple with them and work with the kids, and then we actually provide them money to go and do their retreat. So it's a win-win for both teams. One example is a landscaping project we did, on our actual parish grounds. And lastly, this is our most successful service project. We decided to talk about this because it has a couple things we wanted to mention. And this is, we are building this year a memorial to the unborn on our actual parish grounds. It's something that's been kicked around in the council for a while. But this is the actual final idea and final realization of what we're going to be doing, which is a life-size bronze statue of Jesus with a sleeping infant. The process to actually get this funded and approved was interesting, and I wanted to bring up because initially there was resistance from the pastor and some resistance within our various groups within the parish that need to approve it. And in actually having nights on these groups and actually discussing the statute, it was interesting to me that there was actually resistance, which I thought, why would anybody in a Catholic parish have resistance to such a beautiful monument? And I think it's important that every council that's associated with a parish try to build one of these memorials, because I think it brings out resistance and lack of communication in a parish, which can be addressed by not only the knights but the priests. And so we kind of overcame all of these hurdles and got approval from all the relevant people in the parish and the priests. And after that, we went and actually went to our council members and we said, look, we're not going to do a fundraiser. We want to build this with our money. And we went and created a $21,000 budget. And within probably 2 months' time, had $20,000 already contributed and collected towards this monument. So this is something that was, an unmet need, and obviously, because we got all the money in a month, it was a tremendous response from our council members. And obviously, what does it do? It's a tangible, lasting, reminder to people in the parish. This is what our faith is, especially with the recent events in the news. That's why I think this couldn't have come at a more important time, and I just believe the Lord had something to do with it. So anyway, this will be installed in February and March of this year, and we hope to invite the bishop to come in and bless the statue. Thank you very much.
Council 51.
Council 5150. This is Jerry Brady, Deputy Grand Knight.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jerry Brady, Deputy Grand Knight for Council 5150. First, let's talk about the relationship with our pastor. Our pastor's been there probably a little bit over a year right now. Before that, our current pastor, what he asked for us was to cook at the parish picnic and to put on 2 fish fries, which we still do. The 2 fish fries last year helped us. His father asked us for $1,000 for liturgical supplies, and that's where the fish fry money went to. Also, a donation to the 8th grade fundraiser for their end-of-year activities, and then $100 of that goes to the valedictorian at our school. So the fish fry proceeds benefited that last year. I think another important thing as far as that, our brothers are involved in ministry at the church, and our pastor knows that as far as he sees us. Something that maybe just because of pride, our brothers wear our shirts to Mass. So we're very visible from, a shirt standpoint as far as seeing that logo at Mass every Sunday. Father sees us not only involved in ministry, but also in attending church as well. Kind of a hidden bonus is that besides our pastor, our associate pastors, a night, our deacon is a past granite of our council before he actually became a permanent deacon. Our director of operations and finance person is a male. He's a member of our nights. Our middle school youth director, who's a part-time person, he's a deputy grand night for the council. So that kind of helps that he's on parish staff as well. Has a good relationship with the pastor. He's been the pastor for about 15 years. So we really have good connections with our pastor. And we plan to get the music director and our maintenance person, who are not nights right now, but our goal in 2016 is to have them become a part of our council. So we do have a good relationship with our pastor. As far as fundraising, I'm not going to talk a lot about it because over here, as Worley Deputy Brown said, we're the ones that have the dessert sale, which many of the parishes have benefit from that process. Once a month at our church, we have a sale. It takes a lot of logistics from our brother's standpoint as far as commitment to make it happen. But besides the Knights of Columbus, St. Charles School, our middle school youth group, the Council of Catholic Women, Morning Star School, all benefit from that dessert sale. So this past year, those different organizations got $14,000 going towards their organizations because of the dessert sale, which doesn't include the other stuff that we do for your parishes as far as providing desserts that's going to help you, whether it's helping people go to the sister diocese or whatever you guys use your money for to help your parish. Thanks.
Thank you, Jerry. That concludes the council presentations, and I hope you're not too worn out. They say that the mind can only absorb, and you know the rest of that. At this time, our fraternal benefits advisor, Sean.
If you don't mind, I'll go up first.
Okay.
Introduce Sean.
All right.
Here's the boss anyway.
I'm Gino, everybody. He's the head of the agency here.
Gentlemen, I'm normally here to fill time while he gets the PowerPoint set up. But I brought my own PowerPoint. As you can see, I'm very high-tech. The first slide is, no. Seriously, guys, I want to thank you for inviting us, worthy state officers, district officers, and council officers. We're here today to show that we are part of the team. And we have Al Smith here, we have Sean Williams. There is a new agent that joined the agency by the name of Preston Cobb. Preston couldn't make it today because he was in Melbourne having his newborn baby baptized. So that's his dedication was family first. Now we do have some changes in the council, so some of you, for example, Holy Cross, 1, 2, 3, 5, Dan Charlin will now be your agent. We have balanced the territories every January to make sure that the agents have a number of members that they can service properly. Not too many and not too few. Okay, so there's going to be some changes, but nothing major coming down the road. The reason that I'm here today is because whenever we have an event like this, it's important that everybody understand we are two sides of the same coin. And that speaks to the simplicity and the vision and the brilliance of the divine inspiration that Father McGivney had when he started this organization. He envisioned a side, a fraternal side, all of you, doing all these things that you've talked about, all these great works, the charity, the fundraising, all the involvement with the community. Very important. But on the other side, there's that financial piece. And that was the side that was paramount to him, to protect the orphans and widows. And that's how together, now who's responsible for recruiting? All of us. Each of my agents are charging a minimum of 2 new members per month to recruit into your councils? Who's responsible for insurance? Now, you're not all licensed agents, I think, because otherwise it would be a busy room. We're licensed agents by the state of Florida in order to represent and conduct a contract between the members, their families, and the Knights of Columbus Insurance Company to protect them. We do that. But all of you are part of that. To encourage you. Now, I'm not going to embarrass anybody. Who in this room has recruited somebody in the past 12 months? All right. Put your hands down. Don't raise your hands down. How many of you have encouraged that new member to sit down with the field agent? All right. You didn't have to raise your hands. But that's paramount. That's paramount. You know, I was earlier, they had the stats up. Over 1,000 members died last year. Right? And jokingly, somebody in the back said, well, how do we do something about that? Now, there's a quote by a journalist back in the 40s. He said, you know, the problem with immortality, it just goes on forever. So we can't really fix the fact that some of us are going to pass. That is going to happen. However, I can assure you that in addition to that devastation that happens, the loss of grief, is even multiplied by the fact that over 75 to 80% of those members died with either no insurance at all or too little. That's a fact, gentlemen. Father McGivney set this up because 130 years ago, the most oppressed segment of the population was widows and orphans. 130 years later, guess what? Widows and orphans are the most disenfranchised segment of the population. Over 65% of widows today live in poverty. They weren't poor when their husbands were around, but after the husbands died, they slipped into poverty. Gentlemen, this is an obligation that is every bit as important as all the other things that we do, is to make sure that your brother member is protected. Now, part of the goal that I had when I came into this agency 4 years ago was to change the image. Somebody mentioned, you know, we don't want to be the donut and coffee guy, right? Right. We don't want to be the guy in the council who happens to sell insurance. We are the fraternal benefits advisors. I think we've done a good job, because a lot of you refer to us as the fraternal benefits advisors. But we're here not only to sell the insurance. We're here, yes, obviously, we're here to sell insurance. Not going to, you know, not going to apologize for that. We're here to sell insurance. But we're also here to help you with your tax diversification. How many people are anticipating to have a tax refund this year? How many people are going to owe taxes? Either way, you need a tax diversification strategy. You need a retirement strategy. And you need to have a strategy with someone who's not worried about their retirement, they're worried about yours. I was listening to, what's the man that? Clark Howard. Anybody listen to him? Yeah. Okay. Gentleman calls in, he says, you know, I've got a couple $100,000 in CDs, and every time I go in the bank to roll them over, they keep trying to sell me something that doesn't sound like a good deal for me. And Clark said, you know, whenever you hear that, you hear the sirens go off. They're trying to sell you something because, guess what? They want to make money off it. They want to get paid, right? What's the difference between the Knights of Columbus and all those other commercial insurance companies? We belong to you. You are the shareholders. We're nonprofit, which means more of the money goes to work for you. Right? And so our goal is to do what's right for you, not what's right for Bob Gio or Sean or Al. It's what's right for you. And there's no fees, there's no charges. It's all free. Everyone welcome, everything. So our goal is to help you secure what you need. And I guarantee you, I can walk into the, oh, by the way, the 3 new members in 23, 12235. We met with them. In fact, the last one I met with was on Tuesday. The Roys, Dennis and Claire. Wonderful family. Now, I don't know if they'll actually get insured. I'm not a doctor, I'm not an underwriter, I don't even play one on TV. But we're going to try as hard as we can, because unlike a commercial company, we don't try to find a way not to insure you. We try to find a way where we can insure you. Okay? Now, when you sit down with a fraternal advisor, and I hope you do very shortly, I'll bet you most of you don't need insurance. You know how I know? Because even though you may not have insurance with us, you probably have it with somebody else. I hope. So you may not even need insurance, And I'll tell you what you do need. You need a retirement strategy. You need a way to get over the pressures that are happening in the stock market today. You need a way to secure your financial future. You do it through insurance. What we do is like trying to convince somebody to get a Swiss Army knife. You look at it and you say, I don't need all that. I just need the blade. I just want enough to cut whatever I need to cut. We're the same way. When you have that Swiss Army knife, and you're on a camping trip, and somebody's got a bottle of wine and says, hey, Tom, who's got a bottle opener? And you whip out that Swiss Army knife, now you're a hero. It's the same thing with insurance. People look at it and say, I don't need that. I got a burial policy. Well, I got enough. Well, you got a lot when you were like 20 years old, but now you're 70, and it doesn't go as far as it did. So you may need a little bit more, but the point is, you need something. And you need something that you can use in a way that you hadn't thought of before. How many people have 401k money or IRA money or tax qualified plans? When you get to a certain point, you're going to see there's implications to that you're going to look back and say, man, I wish I had taken some insurance to help offset all these taxes I'm paying on this stuff. A lot of you are nodding because you probably sat down with Sean and you're probably doing something about it now. But these are the type of strategies where you can offset the taxes that you know you're going to have to pay down the road. And you can bring back cash back into your portfolio when you need it most. So I won't get into too much detail, but the bottom line here, gentlemen, is that we're all responsible for recruiting, and we're all responsible to encourage those new members to sit down with the fraternal benefits advisors. Call on us. I challenge you all to add to your portfolio of activities and events fraternal benefits night. Because remember, when you recruit that man, he most probably has a wife. And she's encouraging him to join because she's involved in things, but he's not. She's encouraging him. But she's also concerned about their security. What's going to happen to the kids if something happens to you? What's going to happen to the kids if something happens to me? Remember, your wife is more concerned about those things than you. You go to work, you do what you have to do, but your wife is the one who's going to have to pick up the pieces. And she knows that. So when you're recruiting a new member, a great way to get them involved is to get the wife involved. You get the wife involved by having a fraternal benefits night and expose her to all the things that are available to her if anything should happen to her. And we can do that. We can help you, we can help coordinate it. I'd be more than happy to fund it if you need to, buy the spaghetti or whatever for that night, the coffee donuts. Talk to us. We'd be more than happy to be your partners in getting you to start council, both through recruitment and through insurance. Thank you very much.
Sean, did you want to add to that?
Like for a couple seconds there. Okay. Hey guys. The best mentors I've ever had over there. Bob's a great guy. Runs a great agency as well. Real quick, I just want to thank you for a great year, for everything that you've done in recruiting, and in your membership growth, and in your charitable activities. I'm standing in the way of the light. Okay. So milestones 2015. We had total life insurance in force. We passed $100 billion. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm always looking for ways to add value to my clients and to my councils. And when you think about it, what I do is very unique. I sit down and each individual family put together a plan. We figure out which financial vehicle is best for them. It's very unique. It's customized, right? What about the value of Knights of Columbus as a company? What about the value of our products? So, $100 billion in face value insurance issued. I think we're seeing the value. I think our members are seeing the value. We did $8.4 billion, or over that, in total insurance issued. Total life insurance in force right now are over $2 million. How about here locally in Bob's agency? That's the next slide. Since Bob took over in 2012, we've done over 3,000 life insurance applications, written over $210 million in life insurance, and taken in over $30 million in annuity deposits. I think our members here locally are seeing the value. I think so. We're seeing the value. We are.
I'm sure that Bob and the rest of us would like to take credit for that, but quite frankly, let's be honest, the company makes it easy. We've got great products. We've got a great company. We can switch to the next slide. We're AAA rated for 40 years plus. There is no more highly rated life insurer in North America than Knights of Columbus. Should be very proud of that. I know I am. Next slide. Carl Anderson says we do not invest in high-risk vehicles such as derivatives, junk bonds, and all the other scary stuff in the market because we know better, because we're interested in safety and security of your money, because you trust it to us, and it's yours. This is something I'm most proud of. All of our investment managers we order prohibited from investing in companies engaged in following activities involving stem cell research, human cloning, pornography, abortification, contraception, and for-profit health care. So we stay away from all this stuff that's outside of what the Catholic Church approves of, right? And I think God blesses it immensely because of that. We have strong ethics. For the second year in a row, we were rated the world's most ethical company. I know you've heard me say that many times. You have strong ethics, you have great products, you have tremendously great leadership, you got a great company. You get great return on investment. You add all that up, right? Many of you don't know, I'm good friends with Carl Anderson. I think so. He sent me a Christmas card. So I thought I'd share that with you. It's a beautiful picture of the Holy Family. Can you see that over there? It's got a nice reading from Isaiah in there. Can you hold back on that 1 second, John? So, the thing I like most about this picture, and I've got it on my desk, is because Christ is at the center of it, right? Christ is the center of the Holy Family. Christ is the center of our families, the center of our organization, right? The center of our councils. I like what you said over there, Luis. It's all about Christ, right? We talk a lot about Father McGivney. I know Bob touched on it. Great man, a great priest. My personal heroes. But I think if he was here today, he would probably point to the original founder of the Knights of Columbus, Jesus Christ. Amen. Right? I think he looked out in the future and saw the calamities, the hardships, the struggles, the challenges the Catholics' families, his families, would face at the end of the 19th century, 20th century, 21st century now. I think he knew that they would need a safe haven for their money. I think he wanted a way that he could raise them up, leave a legacy, a financial legacy, protect them from the storms that arise. I think he saw the demise of, moral decay rather, right, in our around the world. And he saw the attacks on the family, abortion. And he saw the multiple financial collapses. I think he foresaw all of that. I think he foresaw those yet to come in our own personal lives, maybe, and maybe, in the lives of those families that come after us. So I think he created the Knights of Columbus for that reason. He called Father McGivney to do it, called you and I to do it, to create it, maintain it, make sure it survives, make sure it thrives, make sure it stays a safe haven, a shield, a strong shield for families, his Catholic families. So he went to church this Christmas Eve, he saw a lot of young Catholic families, right? The game has changed, the world has changed, things have changed. Young Catholic families have a hard time today getting benefits through work. In the old days, you got life insurance, disability, many of us may still have a 401k. That's all gone away in a lot of cases. A lot of these families have no access to inexpensive life insurance or disability insurance or a 401k or an IRA. They definitely don't have access to long-term care anymore through work. So we're all in the boat. Christ built this great ship for us, right? We're sailing. He's navigating us down the river to make sure we survive, we thrive, and our money's protected. Certainly, I'd want all my money in that boat that Christ built. I'd want to sit down with a fraternal benefits advisor, working for an organization that Christ built. Christ blesses and protects and enriches. And I think that those Catholic families that are not yet in our organization have that same right. I think they're called just like we were by Christ to join our organization, to partake of those benefits that are available to them, that they may desperately need. Sometimes we don't see the value in something, but you talk to somebody else and they see immense value. And I think we're all called to sit down and talk to those families next time we're in church. Maybe reach out to them, compliment them on how well their children behave or what have you, and invite them into the Knights, as we always do, and encourage our other brother Knights to do the same. Because they may need what we have to offer more than you can possibly imagine. So, thank you again for allowing me to talk. It's a humble honor, it really is. I enjoy very much what I do for a living, and thanks, guys.